Having to clear your throat or coughing? I'm Dr. Ryan Stern with the Stern Sinus Center. Rhine-Air is a simple, non-invasive procedure that can significantly reduce your symptoms. This long-lasting treatment is available here in my office. In a clinical study, 88% of Rhine-Air patients experience a significant reduction in their symptoms. We're proud the Stern Sinus Center was recently named a nationwide center of excellence. Schedule your appointment in Auburn or Federal Way or go to sternsinus.com.
Let's face it, nothing makes you look older than you really are than thinning hair. But what if you could not only increase your hair count, but promote new hair growth without surgery, without drugs with potential side effects, and without a prescription from your doctor? Well, now you can, thanks to a breakthrough new supplement called Hair Grow, provided by New Nordic, the #1 supplier of dietary supplements in Europe. Hair Grow is now available in the U.S. Only Hair Grow contains Tocogaya, a powerful antioxidant that has received a U.S. patent. Multiple clinical studies show Hair Grow is safe and effective in promoting new hair growth. In one study, 95% of the patients using Hair Grow saw increased hair count. Don't lose more time and more hair. Try Hair Grow today to feel and look your best. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or in stores at your local CVS. Look younger and feel more confident with Hair Grow by New Nordic at NewNordicUSA.com, or in stores at your local CVS.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and turn everyday purchases into extraordinary trips. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges where you just check in and chill out. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Gabby.
Hey, Gabby. It's Jennifer Coolidge. Hi. I'm so glad I reached you at 2 a.m.
Oh, of course. Anyone with a Discover card can call and talk to a real person 24/7. Now, how can I help?
Yeah, I used my Discover card to buy these yellow pleather pajamas, and I'm just not sure I'm pulling them off.
24/7 U.S.-based customer service. It pays to Discover. Limitations apply. Learn more at discover.com/credit card.
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
The Mariners swept the Angels. Can they do the same against the A's? They're back at it with a series against Oakland. That one begins tonight at 6:40 p.m. on the road. Another betting scandal in baseball. This one has nothing to do with Shohei Ohtani, though. Padres infielder Tucupita Marcano has been dealt a lifetime ban for betting on baseball games. This was over a 5-month period last year. That includes games involving the Pittsburgh Pirates, who he was playing for last season.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This is Bump and Stacy
On Seattle Sports.
streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now.
Happy Tuesday. We have a big show for you planned today. All Mariners from 1 to 2 coming out for the dugout. Also coming up in just 30 minutes, Reek Wolin, corner for the Seahawks, is going to join us from OTAs. Before we get to any of that, Bump, 4 things we all learned from John Stanton's big interview in the Seattle Times. Yeah, that's right. If you guys didn't know, the owner of the Seattle Mariners had a huge interview with the Times where he said some pretty interesting things. We've isolated 4 things that we felt were most important, where if you did not read this interview, if you haven't heard of it at all, you need to know these. And I'm going to start with this one. This is what the article leads off with. It was what I felt was most important to the writers. John Stanton says the front office will have his support to be active at the deadline.
Well, that's good.
I would hope so.
That's good. I think you should be, especially when you're in a position like these guys are in right now. You're first in the division. You haven't been performing at the level you want to offensively. The arms have been taking care of you. So what are you supposed to do? Be active at the trade deadline so you can support this team. So that's great to hear. Good news.
He said, we've got the resources to be able to do the things we need to do to put a good team on the field. He says, I look at the talent we've got on the offensive side. I just think we've got the ability to hit. That said, we will look at the deadline. I'll spend time with Jerry and Justin, and then he says, we'll talk about where we are. I felt now I naturally am a pessimistic person. So when I saw, I look at the talent we've got on the offensive side and I think we've got the ability to hit. I was like, oh no, is he saying that like maybe they won't? But I was like, Stacey, stop it. Look at the bigger picture here of this first part of the interview, most important part of the interview. He's saying, hey, I'm going to make sure that they have, my job is to make sure that Justin and Jerry have the resources to make moves at the deadline, and they have my support to do that if they feel like that's what we need to do. And Bump, you and I have talked about it endlessly. I know we have almost 2 months until the deadline, but it feels pretty obvious that that is what they're going to need to do. I don't think we're going to see a savior come from within the organization.
Yeah, my questions with that is, all right, the resources. What are your resources? You know, when you're making a group project in elementary school, and there's that good construction paper that everybody wants to use, and then it's just the regular paper. Are you going to give them the good construction paper or the regular paper? And then I'm thinking, all right, you say you have the talent to hit, and we've seen glimpses of it, right? Mm-hmm. But then when you look at who they are right now, they're second to last when it comes to batting average as a team. They're 26 in OPS. They're last when it comes to hitting doubles. They're 20th in triples. They're first when it comes to strikeouts, and they're 26th in runs scored. So I think he's looking at the potential, the projection of this lineup and what it should be and the numbers that they put out at the beginning of the season and saying they can still turn a corner. Now, in the last, 7-8 games, I think you can say that they're kind of turning a corner. You take down the Astros, then you got the Angels. Still need to see more. I think this team does have the ability to hit, but they have to hit. And if they're not doing that, how are you going to support them at the trade deadline? And what are the resources really? Are you going to allow this management group, Dipoto to be extremely active, aggressive, or are you going to be somewhere in the middle, a little moderate, a little modest when it comes to your approach? So he's saying the right things, and this is what we do on our show, is that we dissect what he's saying and try to peel back the layers and understand what's going on here. So honestly, I didn't think it was a bad interview or a bad article, but it just leads to more questions, and naturally we have questions, and hopefully we get answers by July 30th.
Hopefully. We have a couple questions that we're going to talk about this too. And one thing I want to say before we go to this second one is already on the Mac and Jack's text line. By the way, join this conversation anytime, 866-979-3776. On the Mac and Jack's text line already, Bump, I'm seeing a couple people go, oh my God, why would I ever take this team or this front office or this ownership group at their word? And to that I would say, I don't think this is me and Bump saying, hey, here's the definitive truth about everything. What this Seattle Times interview did, and credit to Adam Jude and Brian Divish for it, is create a method and road of accountability. So what happens when you come out as a front office or where you come out as a chairman and you say, I'm going to give them the resources they need and the support they need at the deadline? If the Mariners don't make any moves, very natural questions for reporters that they are then perfectly reasonable in asking are, did you not like moves you saw? Because you said that you would give them support. You know, if Jerry comes out and says, our hands were tied, then, well, wait a minute, but John said he'd give you resources. It just creates a method of accountability. And that's why stuff like this is really important.
Yeah, it does. I think Stanton has done, at least in that article, I think he did a decent job of on paper and in writing supporting these guys, but there needs to be some action.
Oh,
Stacey, I'm 6'4". I'm 6'4". You didn't know that? No, I can say that whatever I want to because you've never seen me. If you've never seen me, I can say I'm 6'4". If you don't hear this show, I can say I'm 6'4", and you have to take my word for it. Now it's about action.
Yeah.
I think they do a decent job of saying the right things most of the time.
Yeah.
I'm not going to put the percentage out there that everybody's thinking about that was said last year, okay? But for the most part, they try to say the right things, but it's about action. So the writing is in the article. Now let's see some action. And I think you still got to wait and see how this team plays the next couple of weeks before you can kind of anticipate what their action should be.
Can I tell you just a 10-second thing, which was like 4 years ago when I first started on air. Unsurprisingly, you get a lot of people that are like, get back in the kitchen. And one guy tried to insult me on Twitter. You could probably still find the tweets. And he tried to insult me and then said, plus, I don't like tall women. And I was like, thank you. And he thought I was tall because I made a joke about like me and some like offensive tackle being the same height or same size. Like he was that dumb. But I also was like, I'm not even insulted by anything you're saying. Thank you for at any moment of your life thinking I was tall. You're welcome. The second thing, this one was interesting to me. John Stanton says outright, he expects the Mariners to win the AL West, which begs the question, Bump, what if they don't?
If they don't win the AL West,
I mean, your owners come out and said it.
Yeah, you're supposed to say that. And when you have a 4.5-4-game lead in the division and you're entering summertime, I guess we're not in summer yet, but we're in June, right? You should expect to win the AL West. But that correlates to what you said in that first clip or the first quote right there is that you're going to support these guys. You have to support them to win the AL West. I don't think you look at this roster as it stands right now and say, boom, you're good enough. I think you could be good enough if things go your way, if the Rangers struggle a bit, if the Astros continue to get banged up, if the A's are the A's and the Angels are the Angels. But there are still some things that you need to do to win the AL West. But when you have a 4-game lead, I think it's 4 games or 4.5, you have a 4-game lead in your division, you should feel that way when you see guys like Julio Rodriguez seemingly turning a corner and starting to get hot. You should feel that way. When Luke Raley has had his spurts of greatness when it comes to swinging the stick, you should. But you just can't rely on who you are today. It's a constant battle to get better and better and better. And there's only so many things you can do. He's not going to change this roster by July 30th and say, bam, I got you guys 3 or 4 bats. We're good to go. But you just have to do enough to win the West. Is it enough? I think they're victims of great circumstances right now with the way this division has been panning out, and teams are struggling to score runs. So it fits who they are at this point. Is everyone else going to continue to play that way? I'm not sure, but I don't like depending on that. So, yeah, okay, expect to win the AL West, but let's keep working towards it.
I will say that for everyone who, this is why I think this is important, for everyone who has and I've been part of this group too, at any point been like, do the Mariners just want to create like a slightly above 500 club so that people will pay to go to tickets and they'll never actually make the playoffs, but they'll still get money from attendance? You get into this really, really like not even pessimistic, but like just negative space sometimes with this team over 20 years where you start getting very just, you know, is this like a baseball theme park and not actually a club that's serious? To me, it was important for a chairman to come out and say, our expectation is to win the West. Not, yeah, we want a playoff team. We'd love to get to a World Series. Our expectation is to win the West. I don't know. That's what I've been asking for. Yeah. I would feel satisfied with them actually doing it, but I like that this was said. Yeah,
and 253 says it's not enough to win the West. That's where you have to start.
Mm-hmm.
I understand you are thinking playoffs, World Series, go get it. Naturally, you should be thinking that way. That's what you want. That's what this fan base deserves. But there's steps. There's a process you got to go through. At the beginning of this season, this team was struggling. They're like, okay, we got to cut down on strikeouts. That didn't happen. But we got to win some tight games. That's happening. You got to have Julio play better. That looks like it's happening. You got to have guys like Rojas perform. That looks like it's happening. Especially when there's 162 games, there are steps you have to take. So I'm not saying, or I don't think he's saying that we win the AL West, we're good to go, y'all can get off my back. I think he's saying, all right, that's step number 1. Let's win that and put ourselves in good position entering the playoffs.
I agree. Okay, number 3. This one was interesting to me. Off-season decisions were baseball decisions. That is something that John doubles down with. And look, remember that controversial King 5 interview where it felt like John was pointing the finger at Jerry and Justin? We talked about that. Everyone was talking about that. It put him in hot water for a little bit. This is not that. But John Stanton is maintaining that, look, we didn't make decisions the last couple of years because of a loss of revenue from Root. He made that very clear. In fact, this is the quote. The loss of revenue from Root is not the reason we've made any of, meaning these baseball decisions over the last couple of years. That to me was important to take away from this bump because it once again points to the baseball decisions that were made and makes us wonder, okay, then what's behind the decisions? If you think that they were just moving on from Teo and Gino to cut payroll and that's all that was, then it's easy to, not really look at strikeouts and be disappointed. But if you think that, no, Jerry and Justin made the decision to move on from these guys, to cut down on strikeouts because they felt adding these guys would make the club better, it creates a little more accountability for Justin and Jerry.
Yeah, it does. I think it can be both. I think you can look at it and say, look, guys, this is a 2-for-1, heck of a deal. Call right now, 899-21212, and you are going to cut down on strikeouts and help out with your payroll. And guess what? Only one of those things have happened so far, but you can't predict the future. You got to go off of who you think players are and who they are going to be. I think in that situation, it's a bit of both. Could be wrong, could be right, who knows, but I can see that scenario.
I have a lingering question from this one before we move on to the next one. Were you also confused after reading this part? Because, and maybe even after the King 5 interview as well, because while I think that John looks just fine in this interview, it is still confusing to me then why why Jerry Dipoto and Scott Service kind of made it seem like their hands were tied.
Yeah.
I'm still
because
confused.
their hands are tied. Even if you create space, and when it comes to your payroll, they're not the ones that just say, okay, let's go out and get Juan Soto. Let's do everything we can and get Juan Soto and pay him whatever he needs. You still got to check up with the men and women upstairs and say, are we good with this? What's our budget like? And every now and then you overspend, but it seems like with the Mariners, they never overspend. They're like, look, we're coming in below budget because we got to run this thing like a business. In a way, as a business owner, I respect that because you never want to be in the red. But also, I know as a business owner, sometimes I had to, this past summer, knock down 2 or 3 walls and expanded the facility in hopes that we're going to bring in the athletes to make money in that square footage. Sometimes you got to roll the dice and do that, and it seems like they're not willing to do it. So I think their hands are tied. Jerry just can't do whatever he wants to do.
Yeah.
He's got to check in with folks. And I do think that they're not going to peel back, the books and let us know exactly what the numbers are and where they're pulling money from or whatnot. But it's all connected. I don't think Root Sports or that whole deal had a huge effect on what they wanted to do, but it had an effect. There's no way where you pull money from. You say, all right, we're hurting there, but it's not affecting anything we're doing. I don't believe that, but I can believe that they don't rely a lot on that revenue.
I completely agree. There's no world where a loss of revenue didn't affect payroll. There's also, it was made very clear in the offseason that Jerry Dipoto was expecting a bigger budget, or, Scott saying, well, our hands are tied. Like, so what's out of your control, right? Was there a miscommunication where you guys thought you'd have more spending? Is Scott saying our hands are tied, meaning the coaching staff, like we don't make those decisions? Like, there was some kind of misunderstanding clearly between these two parties and publicly as to what was behind a lot of the team building things. John Stanton in King 5, and then a much more palatable version in this interview, make it clear that these are team building plans. This is a baseball decision. This is how we're building our team. Root Sports, it's a big deal. It's scary. We're trying to figure it out, but that's not why our team looks like it does.
Yeah, and it can also be just miscommunication. They didn't have the pre-interview meeting and go through as many scenarios as possible and what was going to be brought up and how they're going to handle it. So I think they've learned through this whole process as well, because this was a lot cleaner interview, I feel like.
Me too.
And I'm interested to hear Jerry when it's time.
Okay, last one. We'll be quick with it. The number 4 thing we learned is John Stanton very open to extensions for core players. That's hugely important. He points to Julio's mega contract. So this isn't just like, yeah, we'd love to keep guys around. He points to one of the biggest contracts they've doled out in the last decade, certainly the biggest under this ownership group, and says he's open to similar extensions for some of the Mariners' young core players.
It should be, right? And then who are the young core players? Obviously, Julio signed. He's 23. You got Brian Wu. He's 24. Munoz, his free agent year is 2029. He's 25. Bryce is 25. George Kirby's 26. Logan, 27. Cal. Logan and Cal, they're at free agent years, both in 28. And JP's free agent year is 27. And Ty France's year is 2026. So when he talks about the young guys, those are essentially the guys that I think that he's talking about. And I think that for this team to take the next level, move to the next level, either whether it's during this season or it's next season, unfortunately, one or two of these guys are going to be dealt. One or two of these guys are going to be moved if you're trying to cut down on strikeouts and bring power in, control the zone, all the things that they're saying. I think we're just most comfortable with them not touching the arms. But, yeah, you got to keep this core together, because even though they've been disappointing in the last couple years, right? You have high expectations. Expectations is a privilege. Because they have this talent, you have that. you can never be satisfied. You can never just settle, and you have to take risks sometimes. So who's going to be the risk taker? What name are they willing to deal and put out there to try to advance this team and make them better?
We did learn a fifth thing. It's actually the most important thing when it comes to the Mariners' long-term finances, but it's kind of complicated. It deserves a bit more time, so you're going to have to wait until noon for us to get back to that. Right now, let's get to headline rewrites.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bubba and Stacy.
Headline number one, a group of 5 Major League Baseball players, including Padres infielder Tucupita Marcano, received suspensions today for betting on baseball. What's the real headline?
Marcano reportedly won just 4% of his bets, which begs the question, does he even know ball?
My guy.
Did you even try to
My
win?
guy.
If you're going to bet and you're going to violate league rules, be good at it. That's worse than me.
I want to say that he was probably medicated because he was injured at the time. He wasn't with the team.
He wasn't in his right mind.
So he's sitting at the house
On
just
some Percocet.
just rolling the dice like, hey, let's do it. Dang near 400 bets this dude put out there.
Including on his own team
Yep.
or games involving his team.
And the other guys involved, Kelly made 10 baits. Groom, hope I'm saying your name right, made 32. Rodriguez, 28. And Saul Frank made 28 as well. They made their best, but they weren't heavily involved like this other young man. 4% is really bad. I know baseball is based on failure, but not like this, man. If you're going to bet, do better.
I think Matt Nelson could do better than 4% betting Major League Baseball.
I mean, a flip of a coin could do better,
I mean, well, that's what, Matt, you're going to have Mavs and Celtics facing off in, 2 days here. Who wins game one?
Celtics.
And who takes the series?
Mavs.
Like, what if he's
I
right?
can see that happening.
What if he's
I
right?
can really see that happening.
Who's a higher seed? Celtics? So they'll be at
Yes,
home?
they're the
All right, yeah,
ones.
they can win that first one.
Matt, who wins tonight's game between the Mariners and A's?
A's.
Wow.
Wow,
Okay,
dude,
but who
okay.
wins the series?
Mariners.
Like,
I just keep going
What
back
if he
and
has
forth.
a gift?
Yeah.
What if this is like a Rain Man moment?
We will check the tape in a couple days.
Okay.
Headline rewrites.
Headline number 2, Clint Hurt yesterday in a press conference confirmed that it came down to Devin Witherspoon and Jalen Carter in Seattle at pick number 5 last year.
The big thing was he and Spoon were the two guys that were the big discussion there for us, and loved both players and thought the world of both of them. But I spent a lot of time getting to know him and learning him, and it was always a tough one, when those decisions are made. And I think both of them have unbelievable talent and ability, and have bright futures ahead of them. So it's been pretty cool learning him then, and again the opportunity to coach him now. And he's maturing, coming along. I've been really pleased with the development so far through the offseason program.
Hurt gets to coach Carter now in Philadelphia. What is the real headline?
So Clint Hurt yesterday in a press conference confirmed what we all kind of knew already.
Yeah.
That's a better way to phrase it.
Yeah, we knew that, and good for him. He got to coach Devin Witherspoon for a year, and now he gets to coach Jalen Carter. Yeah, it came down to that. I think we were more surprised that the Hawks went with Witherspoon than actually getting Jalen Carter. Yeah, I mean, there's really not much to this one. You said what we're all thinking. We appreciate that, and good luck over there in Philly. Not too much luck because you're in the same conference. But I'm interested to see if Jalen Carter can take another step with Clint Hurt over there, because I'm sure when they were scouting these guys, he imagined them in his defense and what he would do to allow them to excel. Not the D coordinator. Is he D coordinator with Philly?
He's D-line coach.
D-line coach. Okay, not the D coordinator over there, but he'll still have some influence. Maybe he's back in his wheelhouse. Just D-line, control the box, just get busy.
Do you guys have a sports what could have been, like a great white buffalo, whether it's a player, whether it's whatever? For instance, I don't think that Jalen Carter has had the career to make us wonder, like, oh, if only he could have been a Seahawk. But he is someone against whom I'm always going to kind of compare Devin Witherspoon's career, because you had the choice of these two guys. You went with this guy. Is there another one of those guys? It could be with the Seahawks. It could be in any sport.
I got one
think,
with my Dane Lakers. If we would have got Chris Paul and shipped off Lamar Odom, we would have been stacked. But Stern, he said, no, vetoed that. What could have been?
Yeah.
Headline rewrites.
Headline number 3, the Mariners signed free agent outfielder Victor Robles yesterday. He's expected to join the team tonight in Oakland. Jonathan Clase has been sitting down in Tacoma. What's the real headline?
When we said add a bat, this isn't exactly what we meant. I'm okay with it. I know it's June.
Whatever. I guess they see something in him that we don't see because I have not watched this young man play ball yet. All he is a name and a bunch of numbers on a stat sheet. And the stat sheet tells me don't expect much from him, but everything I read is that he's fast and good on base. It was messed up too, man, as I went on X and put his name in, and the first thing I saw was like a blooper he made in the outfield. I'm like, come on, man, give me something else. But he's one of those just spark plug type of guys.
Yeah.
Can you get hot for a series or two and contribute to this team?
Is there any part of your did you ever have a blooper moment?
Oh, yeah.
Is there one you wish you could like erase from any kind of Google search?
I had one. I caught a hitch against Oregon State on our 20, and I'm running down the field. Now, I top out at like 60 yards. That's max speed. I'm done. About a 100-yard guy. Got hawked down by this safety. Boom, he punches the ball out, fumble. They recovered. Probably one of the worst moments of my life.
Do you think we could find it if we Googled it?
Probably.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I mean, on the flip side, you've caught an NFL touchdown.
Yeah,
I guess pretty cool, too. If you're wondering what Jeff Passan had to say about this, well, we'll get back to that a little bit later in the show, as well as what Jeff had to say about a few other things with the Mariners. Some good stuff there. You're listening to Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app. Coming up next, Reek Wolin, Seahawks cornerback, joins us from OTAs. Don't go anywhere.
Seattle Sports is your exclusive home for Mariners baseball.
Leaps up and he makes the catch.
Every strikeout.
Swing and a miss. Ryan Wu says, can you touch this? And he just overpowers Aaron Judge.
Every home run.
It's going back. Go on a grand slam for J.P. Crawford.
Every Mariners win.
A 2-2 on the way. Swing and a miss. Strike three. And the ball game is over.
Stream every game at seattlesports.com or on the Seattle Sports app. We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Mariners.
Hey everybody, Bob Stelton here, and I want to introduce you to something that was new to me and probably new to a lot of homeowners out there, a metal roof. Now, the first thing I thought of, is it loud when it rains? I had no idea a metal roof was even an option until my most recent meeting with Anthony, the owner of Asset Roofing. And like Anthony usually does, he carefully explained a metal roof does not make noise when it rains, and metal roofs have a lifespan of about 40 years, double the traditional roof. Metal roofs are more eco-friendly and can be made in any color to match your home. Anthony also told me he's seeing a huge push in the market for metal roofing, and Asset Roofing is meeting the demand. They create each metal roof at their headquarters, custom to each job. That allows them to offer metal roofs with up to a 30% discount over their competitors. Reach out to Asset Roofing about a metal roof for your home. AssetRoofingCo.com. Asset Roofing, excellence is on the house.
Certified work that's never in doubt. Asset Roofing, excellence is on the house.
Are you still using allergy pills and sprays to treat your allergy attacks? I'm Dr. Ryan Stern with the Stern Sinus Center. Nasal congestion, sneezing, runny nose, snoring, facial pain are just a few of the sinus symptoms we can help you out with. From allergy workups and treatments to modern nasal breathing procedures to advanced outpatient balloon sinuplasty, we can diagnose and treat your problems. Let us help you get relief, easily, quickly, and permanently. Find us in Federal Way or Auburn or at sternsinus.com. That's sternsinus.com.
These chicken tacos. Was the chicken humanely put down? We pet him until he dies.
George Lopez and the All Right Tour. Friday, June 14th, Tacoma's Pantages Theater. Tickets are on sale now at TacomaCityTheaters.org.
At Buc-ee's, we'll get you ready for summertime. From factory maintenance, AC, brakes, tune-ups, to oil changes, wiper blades, and tire rotation. It's Buc-ee's Complete Auto Repair. Carefree summer driving. No appointment needed and financing's available. Check Buc-ee's.com for the Buc-ee's near you.
Hey, it's Mike Salk here, and if you're looking for a fun night out, well, you know Snoqualmie Casino is just the place to go. Have some fun and unwind. Fall's Buffet is back open. They're serving up all your favorites. You can enjoy prime rib daily plus fresh pasta, made to order stir fry and noodles and pizzas and salad bar and dessert bar. They got the pies made every day. And then Vista Prime has amazing happy hour menus, which start at 4 o'clock, and those breathtaking views of the Snoqualmie Valley and Mount Si. You know it's Seattle's closest, only 30 minutes from downtown. It is Snoqualmie Casino.
Paid for by government.com.
Have you heard? A recent stash of 1902 Morgan silver dollar coins has been found. These gorgeous 1902 silver dollar coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck, and less than 300 of these Morgan silver dollars are available. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone interested in silver coins. Just call government at 1-800-806-1641, and you are guaranteed a mint condition 1902 Morgan silver dollar featuring the iconic old mint mark of the New Orleans Mint, but with limited quantity. You must call now. These 1902 silver coins are still in uncirculated condition. That is 122 years of history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-806-1641. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $25 value free with every order. Call 1-800-806-1641 now to secure your 1902 Morgan silver dollars before they sell out. That's 1-800-806-1641.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Watch your favorite show live at seattlesports.com.
You want more speed? Well, you're in luck because Xfinity just increased their internet speeds and they are faster than ever. Plus, with super fast internet and that reliable connection, you can do more of what you love whenever you want. So that means more gaming. So when my son Titus has his entire baseball team over and they're all gaming, no problem. That means more downloading, more video chatting our kids from away. And for the wife and I, yeah, maybe that means more nights on the couch streaming our favorite movies and TV shows every single night. It's time to get more out of your internet with faster speeds from Xfinity. And now through June 21st, get 150 megabit Xfinity internet for only $19.99 a month for 12 months with a 1-year contract. That's double the speed for the same great price. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or go visit that Xfinity store today. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with store bank account. Restrictions apply, equipment taxes, and other charges extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary and not guaranteed. Make the call to 1-800-XFINITY.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Lake City Auto Works reminds parents to talk with your teenage drivers about the dangers of distracted driving and texting behind the wheel. Make a family agreement to never drive under the influence of alcohol or drugs, or ride with a driver who is. Always designate a sober driver, use a ride share, or call a parent for a safe ride home. Best wishes to the class of 2024 from the entire team at Lake City Auto Works. For complete and reliable auto repair service, online at lakecityautoworks.com.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Motion across the formation is 2-2 Atwell. He starts left, tosses it back to Stafford, who's going to throw down the far side. Ball is going to be short. Ball is going to be picked off. It's going to be picked off by Tariq Woolen, who intercepts the ball. It was intended for Trammell.
Seahawks corner Reek Woolen joining us now on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Reek, how's camp?
I'm sure everything been smooth, new coaches, new vibe, but, you still got to put the same work in and come in and do your job for real. So it's been a lot of fun.
Was it like first day of school back in the day? You show up, it's the same facility, but you got different coaches in there. What was that feeling like? And if you could describe Mike McDonald, how would you do that?
I would describe him as smart, intelligent, urgent person, hard working, and also, he kind of has a chip on his shoulder as well because, one, it's his first time being a head coach, but he's the youngest head coach, in the NFL, so when people look at that sometimes, and you look at all the other ages of the coaches and stuff like that, I felt like they may frown upon it just because, he is different from all the other head coaches, and he's a successful guy, and that's a person that we can believe in. So we're just happy to have him as a head coach, and he's a very smart guy.
You guys got an interesting defensive room because you also have Leslie Frazier there and a new defensive coordinator with Aden Dirty. How do you like the British accent? Can you tell what he says?
Oh, yeah. No, I can't. At first when I heard it, at first when I heard it, I had to get used to it. I'm a goofy guy, so sometimes, when the coach try to talk serious, and he got a whole different accent. It's kind of funny, but all the coaches, him, Coach Frazier, and Coach Mack, they all great people, and they make a great combination for real. And when you got a great minds like that to back up a defense and just make the whole team better as one, those are great people to have on your side.
Hey, Rick, how was your offseason? Did you switch anything up? You go back to your normal trainer? You got something that works for you? What was it like?
Honestly, this offseason I just wanted to be strong and just stay healthy for real. I feel like it's funny because looking back at it last year around this time, I was having surgery on my knee. Like, literally, I was on the field last year and being carted off the field around this time just because I had tore something in my knee. So it felt good to be able to, almost finish up my third OTAs, and it just feels good to just be out there and know that I'm getting better and growing on certain things, especially with my strength, too. I've been working on getting stronger, having a stronger core, just so I can be another powerful person and fit into this defense. So the coaches do a real good job at making sure I do it, and I do a great job of holding myself accountable as well.
What is, do you think, the biggest thing you learned from last season?
The biggest thing I learned is when you're doing good, they praise you. When you're doing bad, they hate you. So just stay even-headed. And just because you hear a lot of things, that don't mean that you are what the people say. You dictate who you are, and the actions you do dictate who you are, and you know who you are as a person. So no matter what the outside say or no matter where anybody say, you still that same person no matter what.
I feel that. Let's talk about the offense, man. You guys are going up against this Ryan Grubb offense. I watched him coach up UW during the, obviously, college football season, and it seemed like they're going to take a bunch of shots down the field, man. What have you seen so far out of it?
Sure, honestly, just know this. It's like, you see how I barely can talk? That's because the offense got me speechless. That's how much that's how much better looking, and how much how can I say, they got a lot of diversity, just know that. And we got the three-headed monster, and then adding on K-Walk and Gino, just know we got some stuff cooking up, man. It's amazing to see what the offense does during out this camp, but it's amazing to see the strides and improvements as well as we all move together as a team.
Who do you personally, I know for you, you're like anyone can get it, but is there anyone you personally on the team like going up against? Because maybe it's just fun, maybe you guys are friends, maybe he's really, really good. Anyone in particular?
I like going against T-Lock and Jackson. I love going against DK all the time, and that was one of the biggest matchups, especially since my rookie year, just going against him. But, T-Lock and Jackson, just because, the smaller guys are the ones that kind of, not really necessarily challenging, but I like going against them because they are quicker, they shiftier, they run routes different and stuff like that, and it's hard to dictate their routes. So those are two guys I like to go against for real. And I get a great taste of, a combination of speed and routes with all three receivers, so being able to practice versus them is really a blessing. So I just go out there and have a lot of fun and just compete.
Rick, I've enjoyed watching you because before you got to the league, you had like 14 games at the corner spot. Then you put together a couple good years, and I watch you and I see you grow and develop. Is there anything specific that you felt like you just got so much better at this offseason?
Right now, it's still kind of early to tell, but I feel like my maturity as just a person of the game and a student of the game, just making sure that I pick up everything and knowing my craft even more so I can fit into this defense, and also just picking up the tools that they give me, so that way whenever I do go train over the break before camp, I know what to perfect, I know what to craft, and I just feel like me as a player, as I mature, those are some of the things that I've been trying to focus on, so that way I can make those strides in year 3 and become even though I am a great player, just become an even better player.
All right. Well, you're going to have some downtime here in between OTAs. I am guessing that you are going to be paying close attention to the Mavs and Celtics. Are you an NBA fan?
Oh yeah, come on now. The Mavs my team. You gotta understand
disrespectful
this.
of me.
You know what I'm saying? I'm back. I'm a Mavs fan for life. With Dirk Nowitzki, Tyson Chandler, like yeah, you know what I'm saying. When we was out there devastating the nation and LeBron James, he and everybody was with the Heat. Oh yeah. So I'm talking all my trash throughout the facility. You know. And the thing is, you know, I'm a big fan of Anthony Edwards. You know, last series, you know, I call him Young Michael. But the guys here, they just don't like to listen when I tell them Luka Doncic and Kyrie is the kryptonite to everybody.
Yeah, that combo is ridiculous. It should be a good matchup, man. Tatum and Brown on the other side. I'm a Laker fan, so I don't rock with the Celtics. I'm a Mavs fan for the finals.
Join up then, you know. we go ahead. Hey, what's that saying? Say what the enemies of a friend of mine or something like that. You know how that goes. So yeah, go ahead, join up. You know, all the Mavs, we gonna accept you, and just know whenever they win the ring, it's gonna feel like all of us win the ring.
Cool. I'm putting my application after the interview. I'm in.
You going Mavs in 4? What are you going?
Nah, I ain't even gonna do the Celtics like that. You know, they're a great team.
Respectful.
I'm gonna say Mavs in 5. No, at least I feel like it'll go to 6. Mavs 4 and 2, and if it goes to 7, it go to 7. But I got my Mavs going ahead and etching their name in the legacy of the NBA. And Luka Doncic and Kyrie, the best scoring backcourt in history.
Good, man. Well, one more football question before you get out of here. You a vet now, dog. You a vet. You know, you got some young bucks in there. What's that room like these days?
Honestly, you know, it's pretty cool because, you know, I feel like I'm one of those in-between vets, you know, like I'm still a young guy, but also, you know, it's still veterans that, you know, they got I call it the premium vet card, you know, how they got like the premium credit card, black card and all that. I feel like they got the premium vet card. So it's a learning curve, but also it's a growing curve too, because it shows that I put the work into the young guys can look at me and learn something from me just because, you know, I've put the work in and they feel like they can trust me. But also I'm still growing to become one of those leaders. So I'm glad that I have like a J Love, Rayshon Jenkins, Michael Jackson, you know, guys like that in the room that are veterans. I can learn from them and we can help each other grow and pick each other's minds. So that way we all grow together.
Well, hey, man, we are excited to see you grow as a player this year. You're so fun to watch and you're so fun to talk to, man. We've really enjoyed it. Thank you so much, Reek.
Thanks, Reek.
Oh, yeah, no, thank you for having me.
What went wrong for Reek Woolen in 2023? We've talked about it a bit, but we're going to take a deeper dive coming up next and figure out how he can get back to great form in 2024.
Get the national perspective on the Mariners.
Swing and a miss and a slider, strike 3.
With Jeff Passan, Tuesday mornings at 8:30.
I don't think that it is unrealistic to believe that they have the talent and the ability to win a championship with this team.
And John Morosi, Thursdays at 5 p.m.
Their DNA remains intact. This is a rotation-dependent team.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Mariners.
From whiplash to herniated discs, there are a few car accident injuries we've all heard of. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains that even the most common injuries differ from one another.
Pre-existing conditions, health history, beginning of treatment. There are hundreds of factors that make every person and every injury unique. While these variables aid medical treatment, the strongest case recoveries must also take them into account.
Could you explain a little bit more?
Our team at Pendergast Law is obsessed with turning over every stone to differentiate each case. This requires thorough investigation, diligent listening, and relentless research. We never pursue cases with a one-size-fits-all approach. We built our success by treating every injury and every case with the individualized attention our clients need and deserve.
Pendergast Law's individualized approach to even the most common injuries makes the difference in case outcomes. It's another reason why I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
Lights, camera, laughter. Sitcom stars Mark Price and Steve Heitner are bringing the laughs to Galaxy at Muckleshoot Casino Resort June 22nd. Watch as Skippy from Family Ties and Kenny Banya from Seinfeld join forces for this hilarious comedy event, Saturday, June 22nd. Get tickets right now at MuckleshootCasino.com.
Muckleshoot.
Put your phone on D&D. That means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D. That means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
It's a mystery where Old Spice finds its amazing scents like Himalayan sea salt, but I'm thrilled they have because no other body wash exfoliates and moisturizes 24/7 like Old Spice Gentleman's Himalayan sea salt body wash. Now, if only there was a mountain range separating the Indian subcontinent from the Tibetan plateau where I could hide my Old Spice and keep my family from stealing it, my impossibly smooth skin will finally be safe.
Mike Salk here for RiversideRoofingLLC.com, where you can enter your address and receive a hassle-free quick quote on your roof replacement within seconds. Do it this spring and save time, money, and get your project done at RiversideRoofingLLC.com, the roofing company you can trust.
Gene Johnson, how can I help you?
I just flipped the AC on and it went clunk.
We're on it.
Gene Johnson, plumbing, heating, cooling, and electrical. We're on it.
Ready for some summer hoops? Register your team for the Everett 3-on-3 tournament July 13th and 14th, presented by Boeing. 4 players to a team, 2 days of exciting action, one incredible tournament. Players of all ages and abilities are encouraged to come out and play. Get your team registered today. Go to everett3on3.net to sign up your team. That's everett3on3.net. A special thank you to event sponsors Amazon, City of Everett, Snohomish County TPA, McLean Insurance, and Scott Dahl Real Estate.
Listen throughout the week to the Mariners Players Spotlight.
Give props to Jerry and Justin. They did a great job bringing in these good group of guys.
Presented by Muckleshoot Casino Resort.
This June, for Men's Health Month, we're partnering with Swedish Cyberknife to encourage men to speak about their physical and mental health with family members and medical professionals. Hi, it's Dave Wyman. An important topic is prostate cancer, the second most common cancer in American men after skin cancer. When detected early, prostate cancer is curable with several treatment options. One of the most effective treatment methods for prostate cancer is with Swedish Cyberknife, and it's right here in Seattle. Swedish Cyberknife requires only 5 short treatment sessions, each lasting less than an hour. It's non-surgical, non-invasive, and patients can typically maintain their usual daily schedule during and after treatment. This June, during Men's Health Month, consult with your medical professional about your risk of prostate cancer. To learn more about Cyberknife for prostate cancer treatment, go to swedish.org/cyberknifeprostate or give them a call, 206-320-7187. Treat prostate cancer with Swedish Cyberknife.
Raleigh Auto Sales reminds parents to talk with your teenage drivers about the dangers of distracted driving and texting behind the wheel. Make a family agreement to never drive under the influence of alcohol or drugs, or ride with a driver who is. Always designate a sober driver, use a ride share, or call a parent for a safe ride home. Best wishes to the class of 2024 from the entire team at Doyle Guffey's Raleigh Auto Sales. Family owned and proudly serving the Puget Sound area since 1978. Online at raleighauto.com.
At Shane Company, we believe everyone deserves a personal jeweler. Whether it's a gemstone expert to show you every shape, size, and color until you find the perfect stone, someone dedicated to helping you find just the right gift in your price range, or our unmatched free lifetime warranty that protects your jewelry for life. At Shane Company, we know jewelry is personal. Come visit us and let us show you around. We go above and beyond to spark joy for all our customers. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
All right, great interview with Reek Woolen. If you missed that, it'll be halfway through hour 1 of the Bump and Stacy podcast. Make sure you are subscribed to that podcast so you can get all those interviews right on your phone, available wherever you get your podcasts. Reek Woolen's a really interesting guy. Now, when we talked to him, we just wanted to have fun, ask him how the offseason is going, kind of what he learned from last year, his goals going into it. What I didn't want to talk about and what we didn't want to talk about is like, you got a lot of criticism. How much of that was your fault? We're not going to ask that guy that. Instead, we'll figure out what he's working on, and then the two of us will discuss what went on last year because he is such an interesting figure, Bump. from bursting onto the scene as a 5th-round pick, all of a sudden a Defensive Rookie of the Year nominee, lost out to Sauce Gardner, and then the following year is kind of weird. What happened?
Yeah, that first year he comes out, has a great year. 6 interceptions, 16 passes defended, had a defensive touchdown as well. And then that second year, you have high expectations. He comes out. He mentioned that he was banged up before the season started, had a procedure done on his knee. He has 2 interceptions and 11 passes defended, 2 fumble recoveries. We didn't see the production that we saw out of him last year, but there are some things that happened. I think most of you guys know this, but Reek hadn't played the corner spot in a while, well, ever, right? 14 games in college, and then he gets drafted to the NFL, and no one is thinking about a 5th-round pick at a UTSA. They're saying, you know what, we're going to go at him, we're going to throw at him, let's see what he does. They're throwing at him, and he's using his athletic ability to get him out of trouble and to make these plays. You get into that second year in 2023, now there's 16, 17 games on you, and teams know how to attack you. You heard him mention during that interview that he had to get stronger in his core. What teams were doing, I was just watching film during the break to remind myself of what I saw out of Reek Woolen. And what teams would do is they would start in like a 2-by-2 formation, have Reek over the number 1 receiver, and then they'd motion that other receiver either all the way across the field or they move him inside the number 2 receiver. And what that does, it makes him have to set the edge right now. So setting the edge just means that his job is to take everything with his inside shoulder and force the running back, if he comes that way, inside to his playmakers, to the safeties and to the linebackers. And he struggled with that. And once teams saw that on film, I watched maybe 25 plays right now, and half of them were teams motioning over and putting him in that position because they're saying, look, when he's on an island, he's good to go. He's in space. He's 6'4", 210. He's fast. That's where he's most comfortable. So what they started doing was making him play a physical brand of football. And when you haven't played defense very long in your career, that's tough to do. I remember the first time the Seahawks put me on the kick cover team in a preseason game. I ain't tackled nobody since 2000. Y'all asked me to come out here and tackle a grown man who got that wiggle in him, and I struggle because I just haven't tackled anybody in a while. So it's just familiarity. And then when you enter the season and you're hurt, and you're banged up, you have expectations. Maybe you hurt the love, you hurt the hate. Yeah. There's so many things going on in this young man's mind that that makes you second guess yourself. So I don't think he had as bad of a season as people think. Was it like his first year? No. But when you have the first year that he's had and then you come out that second year and you don't look the same, people are going to criticize you. So I hope that during the offseason he put the phone down, stayed off the internet, like just leave that stuff alone and just work on you. It sounds like he's been doing that. But it was just going through the growing pains of not playing the position a lot and having teams game plan to put you in positions that require you to be a more physical player, and that just wasn't his game.
This is a club that also drafted 2 cornerbacks, and obviously everyone there except for Devin Witherspoon is fighting for a spot. Devin doesn't have to. Devin not only was maybe the best player defensively on this team last year, but he's a number 5 pick. Nothing's happening. He's good. He's a starter. Sharpie, done. But drafting those 2 corners and having a down year means Reek Woolen is fighting for that spot in a way that maybe we wouldn't have expected after his rookie season when we thought, oh my God, they found another 5th-round gem here. You've always remained really high on him, though, or at least pretty optimistic. Yeah. What do you see in his game from him as a player where you go, you know what? I know that he had to learn a lot of tough lessons last year, and I know that at times maybe he let himself down last year, but this quality about him makes me think there's some untapped potential.
The reason why I'm still rocking with Reek, I was watching highlights. I was on my reels last night, right? Before I go to sleep, I read the emails you guys put out, get some thoughts, jot some notes down. I go, all right, 10 minutes, let's hit the reels now. Let's just go. And I'm watching reels, and I see Shaq in 2002, I think it was, or 1, against the 76ers, and he is just dominating. He's going to work. And I'm thinking, man, it's such a blessing to be able to watch Shaq do what he does. You never seen anything like that. 7'2", 300 pounds, my man was amazing, but he has so many flaws in his game. But why do you deal with the flaws in the game? Because of the things that he does great, just make you ignore some of that stuff. So that's kind of when I look at Reek, I go, you're not going to find 6'3", 6'4", 210 running a 4.3 with this long wingspan can go up and get the football. You just don't find that. So you're willing to deal with some of the shortcomings in his game in hopes that he's going to develop, and I think he's worked hard on that stuff, and you give him more opportunities. So because of just his freakish athletic nature, and he's shown that he can make plays in the NFL, I'm still rocking with him. Now, he does have to compete for his position. I think, just like Tomlin says, I'm going to use this all the time now. He's got the pole position at that spot. You're not just going to draft a couple guys late and say, all right, you guys are in from Auburn. You got the spot. You're the ones now. No, you ain't proved nothing in this league yet. They have to go above and beyond. They got to be outstanding. They got to make every single play to take Reek's spot. But I think they can apply pressure. So, I think he does have experience, more experience in the NFL than these young men do. They probably have more reps at the corner spot that he does. But Reek has shown that when healthy, when put in the right position, he can play in this league. It's up to him to work on the things that he struggled with last year. And just listening to him, he notices that. He didn't say, oh, man, I missed a bunch of tackles. I got to get stronger. He goes, no, I got to be a strong player. I got to have a good core. I got to come in healthy. I'm going to work on some little things. There's his opportunity. You had an offseason to do it. Is it going to show up on film? If not, they got two kids they just drafted from the University of Auburn that are ready to take the spot.
You know what? Taking kind of a look at the defensive back room more broadly, last season when we were entering the year, it was Jamal, who was going to be healthier. It was Quandre, who's always been great. It was Devin, who was a number 5 pick we were so excited about. And it was Reek coming off a defensive rookie of the year type season. And we thought, oh, my God, how good could this group be? As we know, the defense as a whole and the team as a whole really disappointed. Interestingly, this year you're entering going, well, it was kind of a weird year for Reek. Devin was solid, and you don't have Jamal or Quandre. What's this group going to look like? And in a weird way, I'm even more curious because you've got Mike McDonald and you've got lots of new names and faces that make it even more of a competitive group.
He's looking at this defense and his personnel with fresh eyes. What we saw from Reek, I'm sure he saw it on film, but he also probably sees some things that we missed because a lot of people were focusing on what he wasn't doing. And I'm sure Mike McDonald is doing that as well, but he's also going to highlight the things that he does well and put him in different positions. He's not Clint Hurt. He is a linebacker, safety type of guy. The way he communicates, his vision is a bit different. So because you have a young corner in Reek and Devin Witherspoon, guys who are still figuring this game out, you got a new defensive coordinator, a whole bunch of new names in that backfield and secondary. You ain't got no choice but to look at this situation differently. And Mike McDonald's going to do that because he wasn't here last year. He was in Baltimore, and he might see some things that we don't.
All right. Well, Bump and I, unfortunately, because of the timing of our show, aren't able to watch a lot of Seahawks practices. At least, during training camp we will, but not during OTAs. And so in that way, we're kind of like you guys, right? None of us are out there watching it right now. Thankfully, someone is. ESPN's Brady Henderson. He's going to be not just the eyes and ears for us, but eyes and ears for you guys out at Seahawks OTAs. He'll tell us what he's seeing coming up next.
The Dugout. Go in depth with the Mariners.
Goodbye, baseball.
With voices like Rick Riz, Aaron Goldsmith, and Dave Sims.
This is a club that has the ability to go on another run.
You never know when a team is going to get hot.
This team's window is wide open.
Hear from the players and coaches and go behind the scenes with insider Shannon Dreyer.
We are seeing him comfortable with where he is at the plate. We're seeing a guy that has his timing.
The Dugout. Tuesdays at 1 p.m. on Seattle Sports.
Hey, it's Mike Salk here for Window Nation. If you haven't had a chance to take advantage of their semi-annual sale, you are in luck because they've extended it. Get 50% off all windows with no interest for 5 years and a bonus 10% savings when you schedule an estimate now. If your old windows are costing you too much for AC, that's a big deal. And now during Window Nation's semi-annual sale, you can replace them and save big. This offer ends June 30th, so schedule your in-home estimate now. Call 866-90-NATION or go to windownation.com.
1-877 Cards for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K.
Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. You'll get a maximum tax deduction and a vacation voucher.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
At Buc-ee's, we'll get you ready for summertime. From factory maintenance, AC, brakes, tune-ups, to oil changes, wiper blades, and tire rotation. It's Buc-ee's Complete Auto Repair. Carefree summer driving. No appointment needed and financing's available. Check Buc-ee's.com for the Buc-ee's near you.
Want to listen to Seattle sports on your smart speaker?
Hey, smart speaker, play Seattle sports.
This message is powered by the EQC Sportsbook at Emerald Queen Casino. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
Small business owners, we know tackling your to-do list can sometimes feel like going 12 rounds against a heavyweight champ. Except that heavyweight's gloves are made of something hard, like diamonds. So when a new to-do pops up, you're like, I can't. I'm boxing my diamond boxing glove wearing heavyweight champ of a to-do list. At Progressive, we don't want to make your day any harder. That's why we make it easy with over 30 customizable coverage options, so you can finally land a knockout blow. See if you can save on business insurance in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided and serviced by affiliated and third-party insurers.
You go into your shower feeling, but as soon as you reach for the Irish Spring, your day immediately gets better. That crisp, fresh, unmistakable Irish Spring scent zings your brain and awakens your senses. So when you finally emerge from the shower, 37 minutes later, because you pay the water bill so you can stay in there as long as you want, you're ready to take on the day and smell great doing it. Irish Spring Body Wash and Bar Soap. Fresh, green, Irish. Shop now at Walmart.
Access to quality health care is an important topic. So, let's talk about it. Optum Care Washington is here to make the health system work better for everyone by making quality primary and specialty care easier and more affordable. From Tacoma to Bellingham, you can see their top local doctors at more than 45 locations and get care on your schedule with innovative on-demand services. Learn about healthier care that's focused on you at Optum2024.com.
Are you looking for a construction loan to build your dream home? Are you a local builder needing a better financing option for your next spec project? Hi, I'm Scott Rireka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital in Bellevue. Stop wasting time with local banks and credit unions and their endless guidelines. We're the experts for common sense residential construction loans. We lend our own money, we make our own decisions. And if your deal makes sense, we'll get it done fast with flexible terms. For homeowners, we advise you every step of the way with things like budget and timeline, ensuring the completion of your dream home. For builders, Legacy's not only your lender, we'll source your next deal, provide permitting services, and if you're short on equity, we'll invest alongside of you. Legacy Group Capital has lent more than $1 billion, helping over 130 local builders and hundreds of homeowners. We can help you.
Construction loans don't have to be hard. Borrow smart with a common sense construction loan from Legacy Group Capital. Visit LegacyG.com. LegacyG.com.
Overburdened with a bunch of stuff you don't want anymore, but feel bad throwing it away? John here with Happy Hauler, Seattle's eco-friendly junk removal. We prioritize donating and recycling. We'll help get your items to those in need instead of going to the landfill. At Happy Hauler, we pride ourselves on responsibility, community, and sustainability. We're a family-run small business that provides junk removal, donations, and recycling. Make yourself, your community, and the planet happy. It's time to reclaim your space. HappyHauler.com, hauling with a heart.
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
The Mariners are back at it with a series against the Oakland A's. That begins tonight at 6:40 p.m. Another betting scandal in baseball. This one, though, nothing to do with Shohei Ohtani. Padres infielder Tucupita Marcano has been dealt a lifetime ban for betting on baseball games over a 5-month period from July to November last year. That includes games involving the Pittsburgh Pirates, who he was playing for last season. What's going on at Seahawks OTAs? Bringing on Brady Henderson in 30 seconds.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacey Ross.
Here we go now.
Seahawks continuing OTAs. We're going to bring on ESPN Seahawks reporter Brady Henderson in just one moment. First, a quick look at what we're personally most interested in hearing about, Bump. I obviously am most interested in the defense, but I'm especially interested, given maybe our conversation in Rick Woolen, in those second and third year players that we're looking to develop. Are we going to see another step forward for Boye Mafe, for instance? What about you?
I'm looking to see. I'm just looking at the linebackers. Honestly, I just want to see Jerome Baker.
If they're there,
and want to see Dotson. You know, I mean, Bobby's not going to be here anymore. Jordan's not here anymore. There's been familiarity with that linebacker spot for about 10 plus years. And I look at the way McDonald uses linebackers and safeties, and I think it's creative. It applies pressure. It's easy to teach. He's a great teacher. How are these guys going to fit into his defense and help this defense out? Because I think you have the hogs up front to keep them clean.
Yeah, I'm curious to know about just the injury status of all of those guys and where they're at right now. Let's start with some of that. Brady Henderson joining us right now on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Brady, how's it going?
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
We're going to get started with the linebackers. Bump mentioned it as the group that he's most interested in, not just obviously with how important that is for McDonald's defense, but with how thin that group is. What's it looking like right now in terms of who's maybe standing out and in terms of who's not healthy?
Yeah, we haven't really seen any of Jerome Baker at all. And we heard from Mike McDonald, I think last week, that in addition to the wrist surgery that he's recovering from, he's got a couple lower body issues. So he, according to McDonald, Baker, that is not going to be back likely until training camp. And then we've only really seen a little bit of Tyrell Dodson. He's been limited. I'm not sure exactly what is going on there, but I know yesterday he, sort of walked out like midway through practice and only did a little bit of the individual stuff, but wasn't even wearing a helmet. So doesn't sound like his injury is quite as serious, but he really hasn't done a whole lot. And so you've seen Patrick O'Connell and John Radigan as the two inside linebackers with the number one defense, and then Tyrese Knight has been working with the backups. He had what I thought was a pretty impressive day yesterday, at least for the one period where I kind of had my eye on him. He had a really nice pass breakup, and I just happened to be standing next to Dave Wyman when that happened, and he was impressed with that play and just how well he seemed to be recognizing plays during that period. So, but yeah, it's kind of that's probably the position group with the biggest question mark right now, not only because of the health concerns or health issues right now, but just because of Dotson. I think there's just not as big of a track record as there is with Baker. He was a guy who was, mostly a backup for the first 3+ seasons of his career and really didn't become a starter until last year. So that is a kind of position group of maybe some concern, I would say. And I do wonder if that's part of the reason why, at least for a big part of the offseason, I don't know where things stand right now, but as of, I know, a couple weeks ago, I was told they were still had the door open for maybe bringing Jamal Adams back with the idea that he would play linebacker. And I think that the idea would be that, that's not a position of really great depth right now.
Brady, sticking with that defense, when Mike McDonald got the job, we did what we naturally do, watch film, listen to him speak, and kind of figure out what his philosophy is going to be. Only brought pressure about 13% of the time. I think that was like mid to late 20s when it came to defenses bringing pressure. But it was like the illusion of pressure. I'm going to get pressure with 4 guys, but I'm going to confuse the offensive line. Have you seen anything that shows that makes that statement true? Like, look, he's gonna do some things that we didn't necessarily see last year with Clint Hurtt as the DC.
Yeah, I just wonder if that whole blitzing philosophy could be very fluid, just like a lot of things with his defense could be fluid and based off of, personnel and situation more so than just, a general philosophy of not blitzing all that much. I mean, I think that was generally Pete Carroll's philosophy was, they were never a heavy blitzing team under Carroll. And I think his thought was, when you blitz, you obviously take one player out of coverage and you leave yourself a little bit more vulnerable on the back end. So for most of his 14 years in Seattle, they kind of blitzed sparingly relative to other teams. I don't know if that's quite as philosophical with McDonald, and I wonder if he could be more willing to do that than he was last year, with Baltimore. The other side of that coin, though, is that you've got a pretty loaded pass rush group, I think, this year. Assuming Nwosu comes back from the torn pec, which he's been on the field doing pretty much everything. Obviously, there's no contact right now, so but he seems like he's going to be fine. And then, I wonder if Boye Mafe could take another step this year now that, assuming you have a full season of Nwosu and a full season of Leonard Williams, to kind of, take some of the pressure off him, take some of the attention off him that he saw in the second half of last year after he had that, big sack streak going. And so I think that remains to be seen. I mean, we have seen some blitzing. It's not like it's been charted or anything, so I don't have a great feel for how much they're going to do it. But I just wonder if, like a lot of other things in this defense, it really might be tailored more to this roster and the game-by-game situations as opposed to, whatever his philosophy might be.
I'm going to stick with some of the injuries. I asked you about linebacker depth. Any notable absences outside of some linebacker injuries there?
In terms of just the roster in general?
Roster in general.
Yeah. Well, we still haven't seen Abe Lucas, and I know that's been obviously a big concern among a lot of observers. The thing I've been told by somebody in the organization is that it doesn't seem like it's as big of a concern, inside the team as it is outwardly. And I know Pete Carroll used the word chronic at some point last season, and that obviously wasn't like a medical diagnosis or anything. But when you hear chronic, that kind of implies the type of injury that may stick with them and may not necessarily get better with surgery. I think the thought in the building, from what I understand, is that they are confident that the surgery will address the matter and fix the matter. But at the same time, it has taken longer for Lucas to come back than he would like. And I know McDonald said a week or two ago that they're shooting for training camp. So I think, he's still not out there. And it's been George Fant at right tackle. And they obviously paid George Fant, some solid swing tackle money to protect themselves in the event that, Lucas does have to miss time. But the vibe I've gotten is that there's more confidence that Lucas will be back inside the organization than maybe there is outside of the organization.
Hey, Brady, I'm going to stay with the O-line. Nick Harris was brought in to compete with Oluwatimi. It's so hard to evaluate the box with no pads on. But what have you seen out of that competition so far? Who's been taking the bulk of the reps, and who do you think has been shining so far?
Yeah, it's definitely been Oluwatimi with the starters for the first, or really the only 3 OTAs that we've been able to see. It's been Oluwatimi there. So I wouldn't say that competition is necessarily over, but it certainly seems like it's Oluwatimi's job to lose and that he's in the driver's seat there. And Nick Harris was signed to a pretty, inexpensive deal, and he's also got some experience at guard to where even if he doesn't win that job, he still has that ability to back up at the center and guard. So, he could easily justify a roster spot, even if he's not a starting player. I think the other battle is at right guard, and we've seen McClendon Curtis there. Again, the only 3 practices that we've seen, he's been the guy there with the number 1 offensive line. Anthony Bradford has been out with an ankle injury that doesn't sound like it's serious, but we haven't seen him. And then Christian Haynes has been working with the second team at right guard, and I still think that when it's all said and done, it's going to be Haynes in the starting lineup. That's just kind of what my gut tells me. He's 24 years old, so he's older and probably more physically mature, probably more physically ready to play right away than your typical rookie is. And by the way, he's got 48 or 49 career college starts at right guard, which is the position he's competing at. So that's just my guess right now that he is eventually going to overtake Curtis and Bradford to win that starting job.
Ryan Grubb says they've installed about half the offense. I know we're limited in what we can see so far, and mostly it's just kind of, hey, look how fast this wide receiver is. But how's the first half looking in that very limited window?
Sorry, can you say that? Can you ask that one again, Stacey?
Yeah, how's the offense looking? Anything notable? I know that we're really limited in what we can see, so there's only so much you can say.
Yeah, it's hard to really get a feel for it just because, guys are in and out too. Like we haven't seen DK, right. I think he was maybe at one of the 3 open OTAs, didn't see Lockett there. So it is really hard to get a feel for what the offense is going to be like. I think it's the better way of doing that is just hearing, players and the coaches talk about it. And, I know Ryan Grubb said yesterday, he was asked about Geno Smith saying that, it's a drop back offense. And I think Geno said a week or 2 ago that he feels like it really fits his skill set because that's what he is as a quarterback. And, Grubb sort of qualified that and said, yeah, but there is still going to be quite a bit of play action in there because that's what Geno is good at. And I was just looking up the numbers in our database because I know that he is. I've looked them up before, and just to get a refresher on that, he was, I think last season he ranked third in terms of QBR off of play action, and over the last 2 years he ranks fourth. So that would obviously be something that the Seahawks would lean heavily on, just knowing how good Geno Smith is at that. And then I asked Grubb yesterday what his general philosophy is on, getting running backs involved in the passing game. And he didn't really elaborate on it other than to say that he plans on doing that quite a bit, that he wants to make all 5 of the eligible receivers, threats in the passing game. So I know that's been a big conversation. I've written about it. I'm sure you guys have talked about it a lot, how for whatever reason, the Seahawks, under KIRO never really threw to running backs all that often, despite, typically having running backs who were pretty good at catching the ball. So I don't know. I feel like we've had the conversation enough and wondered for so long when it's going to happen that I've kind of got to see it to believe it. But it does seem like that could be one noticeable change with this offense is finally throwing the ball more to running backs.
Hey, new coaching staff here, and obviously these guys have coached before. They're new. Some are new to the NFL, new to this the situation, but they've coached. But I still would imagine there's like a progression that they go through as coaches when it comes to maybe being more vocal, being more demanding, and figuring things out. Have you been able to kind of see that process unfold with Ryan Grubb and Mike McDonald out there?
Yeah, what's interesting is the music is not as loud at practice as it has been, and I don't know if that is like just something that McDonald just generally wants the music lower, or if it's sort of a product of kind of where they're at as a team right now and installing both a new offense and a new defense. But for whatever the reason, it's great for reporters because you can hear more of the dialogue than you typically can. You can hear the cadence when the offense is about to run a play. You can hear, coaches giving sort of individual instruction and, yelling at guys, when they're getting lined up. And I don't know if this is a change from the Pete Carroll era or if I can just hear it better and it's generally the same. But I have noticed that these coaches are coaching these guys hard, and you're hearing language that didn't really hear in the past. And again, I don't know if I just wasn't able to hear it in the past or if that's not how those coaches coach. I always kind of got the impression that, Carroll was certainly not like a guy who, at least in public settings, would, have, kind of talk like that, or certainly was not like the drill sergeant type of coach that some other NFL coaches are. And I'm not saying that these guys are, but it does seem like they are willing to coach these guys hard. And you hear some language at practice, and you hear a coach kind of get on a player if he's not lined up properly, or if there's just some sloppiness on either side of the ball. Like, you're going to hear coaches kind of give it to the players, which is interesting because, again, for whatever reason, seems like we didn't really hear that before. Now,
Brady, all due respect, I don't think hearing gets better with age. So this may be an actual change with the coaching staff or just an ability to hear it. I'm with you, though. Like, I've never been able to get out to OTAs much, though Bump and I have always been able to see more of training camp. And at those practices, like, I heard the running back coach, Chad, yell like maybe once or twice, but maybe it was the music or what. You're totally right. I absolutely agree with you. It's a really, really cool observation. And this is the kind of stuff that we get from a reporter like Brady Henderson, who's very observant and there in person and able to talk to us about it. Hey, one last question for you, Brady. This one is obviously about the quarterback competition. Last year, all national reporters could talk about was the competition between Drew and Geno. And as it turns out, there wasn't much of one. It was Geno's job to lose, and it was Geno's job in the end. This year, it feels like Geno's job to lose still, but there's more local intrigue around Sam Howell, I think. What do you see from Sam, and what do you make of his role?
Yeah, I would say that there is not a quarterback competition right now, and nothing that I saw over those first 3 open OTA practices would lead me to believe that there should be. And I know there's been, like you said, a little bit of conversation about, whether or not the Seahawks should open that up to a quarterback competition. I was of the belief, just based on their respective track records, that wouldn't be a good idea, knowing that, you are installing a new offense and every rep that a quarterback has is very valuable. And again, after the first 3 OTAs, I am even more firmly in belief of that this should be Geno Smith's job. Now, granted, I still recognize, and I've probably written this story more than anybody else on the beat, that there is a significant long-term question about, whether or not Geno Smith is the long-term guy. But again, based off of their respective track records and what I've seen, there's no doubt that he's the better quarterback. He's the better option for them right now. Now, if the season is going south and if he's struggling, could they switch to Sam Howell to kind of give them a spark? Yeah, absolutely. And maybe that decision could be made, earlier than you typically see it. But again, I have seen nothing to believe that Sam Howell would be a better option than Geno Smith right now. I mean, with Howell, you certainly see the talent and you see the tools that they were intrigued by. And, he's got a good arm. He's not like the tallest guy. He's sort of built more like an H-back than a quarterback. He's just a kind of a well-built, kind of stocky guy, but he moves well. The delivery seems fine. The arm strength seems like it's above average. And but just the accuracy isn't what it is with Geno. And just I would say the command of everything isn't what it is with Geno. And so, yeah, I know there's been some conversation about a quarterback competition, but I don't think so.
He is ESPN Seahawks reporter Brady Henderson. Read his work at ESPN.com. Follow him on X at Brady Henderson. Thanks so much, Brady.
Thanks, Brady.
All right, thanks, guys. See ya.
See ya. Let's get to 4 Down territory.
This is 4 Down territory, going inside the game with former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
Taking a league-wide look for this one, the Cowboys are taking a different approach to the running back position. Why do you like it?
I like it, but they're dressing it up as if this isn't by necessity.
Well, that's very Cowboys approach.
Very Cowboys,
no, we're
right?
doing this because we want to.
This is what we're doing. They're saying we're going to have running back by committee. I go, yeah, you probably should, because Ezekiel Elliott's getting old. He has over 2,000 carries in his career. But then after that, you don't really know what you have. You got Rico Dowdle, I think his name is, 96 carries. You got Deuce Vaughn with 23 career carries. And you have Royce Freeman with 471 carries. This group in total had 7 touchdowns last year. I'm looking at the Cowboys running back situation. Tony Pollard is now with the Tennessee Titans. That's why you bring back Ezekiel Elliott. I go, yeah, you probably should do it by committee, because just of the age of Ezekiel Elliott and the inexperience of these other guys, you got to get them more involved. I look at the Seahawks situation and I go, man, I would love for Zach Charbonnet to get more carries, but I don't want to limit what Ken Walker can do. Last year, Ken Walker had 219 carries for 905. He had Zach Charbonnet with 108 with 462. Zach Charbonnet did have the better average when it comes to running rock with 4.3 yards per carry. Kenneth Walker with 4.1. You look at those numbers, and maybe Zach Charbonnet should get more touches, but I don't want to do it at the expense of Ken Walker. So there's a balancing act. I looked at that situation and I go, Seahawks ain't that. They got 2 dogs back there who can get it done. Doesn't need to be by committee, but I think there are ways that you can spread the love a bit more and get Zach Charbonnet a few more touches.
2nd down. This is interesting to me. Why do you feel the Dolphins have more leverage when it comes to Tyreek Hill and contract talks?
Stacey, I am only good at poker when I play it on my phone with my boys. Because in person, I don't know how to bluff. Like, I have a good hand. I'm smiling. I'm like, oh snaps, I got a good one. I got a bad hand. I'm all down. For some reason, I can't control my emotions. And what Tyreek Hill did, he just showed his hand. He showed his hand to the Dolphins and said, I want to be in Miami. Why would I want to be anywhere else? Everything about Miami is awesome. My family loves it here. I go, dang, Reek. You acting like me at the poker table right now. You should have just been quiet, wait for all these other receivers to get their money, and then you start negotiating. Then when the deal is done, you go, I wasn't going anywhere. I was going to be here anyway. So he lost that leverage, man. Granted, he is the 2nd best receiver in the league, 1,700 yards last year. He's going to get his money, but yeah, you tipped him off a little bit.
And you can still get paid, right? Chris Jones with Kansas City at the Super Bowl parade being like, I want to retire here, and then getting the most money ever until obviously Justin Jefferson came in and squashed that, as did Nick Bosa. But I love mostly from this, not just a great answer, but the idea of you sitting at a poker table in Vegas, just smiling ear to ear, looking at everyone like, I like my hand. I don't know about you. Everyone just folds.
All bad. All bad.
3rd down. What have you heard from OTAs that's encouraging, but you also need to keep in perspective?
I'm hearing JSN is torching fools up right now. I read a couple articles, talked to some people who have been around. In the last red zone session, he had 5 touchdowns. He scored 5. Now, you got to keep it in perspective, because There's no pads on. DBs aren't going to be physical. There's no DK there right now. I'm not sure if Tyler Lockett is there. So naturally, he's going to get the bulk of the targets. But when you're going up against guys like Witherspoon, I believe 3 of those touchdowns were against Witherspoon, 1 against Reek Woolen. You have to be encouraged because it sounds like he's getting more and more comfortable. And when guys like DK and Tyler Lockett aren't there, I think Tyler is there though, but when guys like DK aren't there, you're developing a tighter relationship with Geno. So he's building trust with Geno. He's cooking without the pads on, but that's the type of receiver that he is, man. We're supposed to win these matchups. When no pads are on, we're doing 7-on-7 team sessions in the red zone. You can't touch us. Receivers, we're supposed to win this. But if he wasn't winning these one-on-ones in these team sessions in red zones, then there'd be some concern. But everything I'm hearing about JSN, it's all good right now.
4th down. Young Marvin Harrison Jr. didn't participate with combine stuff. He didn't do much at his pro day at all. So with that came a little bit of a diva reputation. But he's done something lately to combat that. What is it?
Coach Gannon over there says that he's asking Marvin Harrison to not stay after practice too late and not show up too early, because he's getting on the field and he's getting a whole bunch of reps. He says, look, he's essentially running about 100 routes per practice. You're not going to run 100 routes in a game. You have about 76 plays. You're going to run the ball about 30 times. You got about 35 to 40 routes that you're actually going to run. So he's putting a lot of stress on his body. But I like this because everything we heard about him was that he was selfish. He's about himself. He's about the money and all this other stuff. And good for him. You make sure you maximize your earning potential, but it's nice to hear that that's not translating to the football field. He's going out there and making sure that he's getting there early and staying late. What he needs to work on is just tapering that a bit and listening to his body and making sure that he's not overdoing it. But like you say, you don't want to be pulling the guy back or pushing him forward. You rather be pulling him back. That's what's happening down in Arizona. They're pulling him back. So Marvin Harrison, keep up the good work. Keep grinding.
I absolutely love hearing this. And I also find it, while we naturally will read certain things as fans and think diva, 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 especially if it's a wide receiver, it's also a very normal assumption to make that someone whose father was an NFL player would understand what it takes to succeed in the NFL and be really disciplined as a result. That being said, do you think that this is Jonathan Gannon just kind of hyping up his player, knowing about those rumors, or do you think this is legit?
I think it's both. I think Gannon is aware of the perception of Marvin Harrison. I think Marvin Harrison is aware, but I also know that every number 1, number 2 receiver, even the 3 and 4 guys, man, you realize you got to put in that extra work because you might not run the routes that you wanted to run during practice. You might not catch as many footballs as you wanted to. So you got to put in the extra work, but you also got to be smart with that work.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I think the expectations would also create a lot of pressure where if you're smart enough, you know that if you meet it, it's better for you in the long run. You're listening to Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app. One Major League player was ready for a fight. Plus, CJ Stroud has a spicy quarterback take. That's next.
The Dugout. Go in depth with the Mariners.
Goodbye, baseball.
With voices like Rick Riz, Aaron Goldsmith, and Dave Sims.
This is a club that has the ability to go on another run.
You never know when a team is going to get hot.
This team's window is wide open.
Hear from the players and coaches and go behind the scenes with insider Shannon Dreyer.
We are seeing him comfortable with where he is at the plate. We're seeing a guy that has his timing.
The Dugout, Tuesdays at 1 p.m. on Seattle Sports.
Do you have a car you're thinking of selling? You want to get the most money for it, but you probably don't want to deal with the hassle of selling it yourself because that's annoying. Meeting a stranger in some store parking lot after work so they can test drive your vehicle and negotiate on price? No, thank you. So here's why you should sell your car to my friends at Wayscar Ford in Auburn. They have a program that pays top dollar for your vehicle. You get that money up front, but it gets even better after. Because when Wayscar Ford resells your old car, they split the profit with you, 50-50. Why? The money they save on auction buy fees, transportation costs, travel expenses, things like that. Well, it allows them to offer this program, and they'd much rather split that money with you, the customer, than those outside services. Are they going to offer you less? Fair question. I see it a ton, but no. In fact, they encourage you to shop and compare, but in virtually every case, Wayscar Ford has been able to match or beat competitor offers. So if you're looking to sell your car, make sure you do it at Wayscar Ford in Auburn and get paid twice for it.
Want to listen to Seattle Sports on your smart speaker?
Hey, smart speaker, play Seattle Sports.
This message is powered by the EQC Sportsbook at Emerald Queen Casino. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
Well, we were all hoping for good news from the feds, but without any rate cut in sight, Americans are still paying crazy high rates on credit cards and other loans. Don't wait for things to get worse. If you're struggling, act now. Hey, this is Brock Ewart for my friends at Tila Mortgage. Contact Tila for information on their home equity line of credit, or HELOC. With a HELOC, you can consolidate high interest bills into one lower, manageable payment while keeping your current low fixed rate first mortgage. Tila's been helping Washingtonians consolidate debts for over 25 years, and they're experts at purchase and reverse mortgages too. Take control of your finances and improve your monthly cash flow. Don't let debt payments control your life. Call Tila Mortgage today at 206-766-8888. That's 206-766-8888 or
Tila Mortgage LLC is a mortgage broker. NMLS 2472046.
See life better with LASIK from King LASIK. And this month you'll save $1,000. Plus, with 0% financing for 24 months OAC, LASIK from King LASIK is just $188 a month. Start with a free Zoom consult at kinglasik.com.
Hey, it's Dr. Coogan with Eastside Weight Loss Clinic. Are you tired of losing weight just to see it all come back again? Summer is around the corner and you want to look and feel like yourself again, but getting back on that frustrating weight loss roller coaster is the last thing you want to do. You've heard about the new drugs but are concerned with the possible side effects, or you're taking weight loss drugs but also want to learn how to change your lifestyle for long-lasting results. At Eastside Weight Loss Clinic, we know the secret for fast and lasting weight loss using real healthy foods and lifestyle strategies. Schedule your free consultation online at eastsideweightlossclinic.com.
Losing the weight is great, but maybe the best part of this program is the sustainability, what comes afterwards, because it doesn't really matter how much weight you lost if you're not able to keep it off, and Eastside's program is fantastic.
Our program has successfully helped thousands of people lose up to 10 to 20% of their body weight in 60 days. You can start our program in person in Kirkland or virtually from anywhere you live. Schedule your free phone consultation today by calling 425-522-5070 or eastsideweightlossclinic.com.
Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary.
Listen throughout the week to the Mariners Players Spotlight.
Ever since I got here, I want to win a World Series in Seattle, and this city's starving for another winning team.
Presented by Muckleshoot Casino Resort.
Tired of a boring backyard? Want to impress your neighbors and friends with a stunning outdoor space? State Roofing has just what you need. Hi, I'm Sam Thomason, owner of State Roofing. Our expert team at State Roofing can help you create the perfect deck. From custom designs to flawless installation, we'll make sure your deck is the envy of the neighborhood. So why settle for a boring backyard when you can have the best? Contact us now to get started. Call State Roofing at 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com.
If you've been in an auto accident, you have the right to take your vehicle to any repair facility. Accurate Auto Body has been family owned and operated since 1994, and they work for you, not your insurance company. Your insurance company may not love them, but you will, because
We meet by accident, fixing every last bit. Accurate Auto Body.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
This is The Timeline
with Bump and Stacy.
Brought to you by 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
It is The Timeline on Bump and Stacy, reading you the top stories you're going to see and hear about on your own timeline. And of course, this one's going to be dominating it this morning. If you haven't seen it already, CJ Stroud had a spicy quarterback take. Now, CJ Stroud, let me just say, he is great in terms of having opinion about things. I don't know if you guys have ever heard him on podcasts or on appearances. Around the draft, he was making a ton of them. And I was like, man, not only did they maybe get a franchise player in terms of on the field, but you got to have that it factor.
Yeah.
And he might have it. And he's not being afraid to put it to use with this spicy take. He thinks Matthew Stafford would have won more with Aaron Rodgers' Packers teams.
I'm a student of the game. Stafford a dog.
He is a dog.
No, you don't understand, bro. You saying that. That's all I watch. I don't watch nobody else. I watch Mahomes at times because Mahomes does some stuff that like you can't coach. Stafford, dog, he will beat you with the same thing every time. All that no-lick stuff, I got that from bruh. Like, literally, that's one of my big, like, I'm a fan of his, like.
If
when I
he's
go to
a great
LA,
quarterback.
I be trying to find, bro.
But
Like,
it's
we
the
got the same
levels of
trainers.
greatness.
I be trying to, like, go to where they working out and just watch.
That's all I'm
He
saying.
elite, dog.
Like Charles Barkley.
Hold on. If you give Matthew Stafford a chance like Aaron Rodgers said, I guarantee you might have had more rings, for sure. I think Matthew Stafford.
Matthew Stafford had more rings than Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he have another ring probably.
I'd say he had like 3-4.
Would have had 3 to 4 rings with those Aaron Rodgers teams in Green Bay than Aaron Rodgers, who 4-time MVP, 1-time Super Bowl winner. What do you think?
Before I comment on that, I just want to say I appreciate C.J. Stroud being his complete self, being a baller on the football field at a quarterback position and not sounding like any other quarterback that we've heard. He is authentic. He's himself. He's going to speak the way he speaks, and he's a baller, and he is a leader of men, and I appreciate that. And now when it comes to breaking down Aaron Rodgers and Matthew Stafford, you got to lean on the guy who just had the greatest rookie quarterback season in NFL history, the guy who walked into a locker room and are leading men from the age 24 to 35 years old. And if he is seeking out Matthew Stafford when it comes to training or film, that says a lot. I think it's important, too, to realize another point he put out there is like, I watch Pat Mahomes, but he does some things that you just can't do.
Right.
I've never seen a quarterback do some of the things that Pat Mahomes does. Like, he's not watching Lamar Jackson either because he can't do what Lamar Jackson does. But what he can do are the things that Matthew Stafford does. And for Stafford to be in Detroit for as long as he was, put up the numbers that he didn't win a lot of playoff games, maybe not any, maybe 1 or 2, says a lot about him. And I like it. If C.J. Stroud is watching Matthew Stafford's film and esteems him the way that he does, there's some legitimacy to it.
I do agree that it's hard to not say that Aaron Rodgers had significantly better teams around him. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
Aaron Rodgers never played with like the most, maybe not never. He didn't often have like the most stacked team in football, the way that we talk about Dak Prescott being in Dallas, being like, how do you not win more with this team, including Dak? They're so talented from top to bottom. But Aaron Rodgers still had a ton of talent around him, despite his complaints in Green Bay.
Yep.
And like you said, Matthew Stafford didn't. And I think what happened is Matthew Stafford being a number 1 pick, he's coming out of the SEC. You go to Detroit and, you have Calvin Johnson. So in people's minds, you have this great weapon and you don't, win a ton and you don't take them to the promised land. And I think it's easy to say, oh, he didn't live up to expectation, ignoring that that's a failed franchise. Like all around him is a franchise that's one of 4 teams to have never appeared in a Super Bowl. And that's from the top down.
Yeah. I mean, you look at Matthew Stafford had Calvin Johnson. Matthew Stafford didn't have an Aaron Jones in the backfield. I will take Aaron Jones and Devontae Adams on my team over just a Calvin Johnson because you got to be able to run the football and toss it up. And Aaron Jones was big in the pass game as well out the backfield. Yeah, I agree with him 100%. The only thing Matthew Stafford had on Aaron Rodgers that they played indoors and didn't have to deal with the elements the way that Aaron Rodgers did. I still think Aaron Rodgers is probably the more talented quarterback as far as arm slots, off balance, throwing across his body and all that good stuff. I look at Matthew Stafford and I see a man with a lot of arm talent, but his fundamentals are so good and on point, and he understands what he's looking at. I saw a clip. It's the little things, too. I saw a clip of Matthew Stafford. He's in the huddle, and he's getting the play from Sean McVay. And Sean McVay is talking and talking and talking.
Oh, yeah,
and he can't communicate back with him. He goes, yes, I got it. Okay, I got it. He goes, can't believe this guy. He's still talking. So he still makes himself like one of the boys. I'm sure Aaron Rodgers can do that as well, but we just don't get a lot of that from Aaron Rodgers. So it's the talent and all the other things we don't see.
Yeah, I also think that him being on a team that didn't make the playoffs a ton hurt his legacy in terms of maybe a more casual fan. Yeah. I think that when you think of name all-time great quarterbacks, people might throw Ben Roethlisberger in there. And I think that Matthew Stafford would have been more quickly thrown into that conversation as just like this big arm who can make a ton of throws. And instead, because he doesn't have the Super Bowl rings, at least not with Detroit behind him, people don't see him as being quite the same. All right, next story on the timeline. Oh, by the way, I want to give them credit. That was from the YouTube show $1 Million Worth of Game interview with CJ Stroud. White Sox outfielder Tommy Pham was ready to throw hands on Sunday with Brewers catcher William Contreras. This is following a collision at home.
Actually, it wasn't even close. It was a shallow fly ball to left field. You would expect the left fielder to throw the base runner out on that play, but the situation of the game, third base coach sends you got to go. I'm nailed out at home by a mile, going to the dugout, and I hear the tough guy with all the hoorah, so I'll never start anything, but I'll be prepared to finish it. There's a reason why, I do all kinds of fighting in the off season, because I'm prepared to somebody up. So you can take it as what it is.
I don't blame Tommy Pham in any way for being heated, for being upset, for being like a little, fired up in this moment.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but ending a conversation with basically, this is why I do all kinds of training and fighting so I can be prepared to fight someone. What, at professional, you can be prepared to fight another professional baseball player because you're fired up? Tommy, please, calm down.
Yeah, man.
Just take it down one notch.
You might as well have just gotten to your stance right there in that moment.
What are you going to do? Yeah.
Like,
what are you going to do?
Come on, man.
There's video of him shadow boxing on the field after this.
You're not
collision
going to,
happened.
I mean, I know that you have physically punched someone before another player, but like, you're not going to fight another player.
And I'm watching the video. And here's the thing too, man. That's part of sports. People are going to talk stuff.
Yeah.
They're going to chirp. It is what it is. Just go out there and make another play. And it was a physical play. It was a bang bang play at the plate. Boom. I mean, catcher was protecting the play. You guys ran into each other. He's kind of amped up. I get all of that. The tough guy thing, man, I'm not a big fan of that. I'm not saying he can't back it up, but I'm just not a fan of
Now,
that.
he's got a history of being that guy
That's
on
what
the
I was gonna
field.
say.
Because him and Jock Peterson, if you remember a couple of years ago, had that run-in during batting practice, which was over unpaid fantasy football dues. We've all been there. That's something we all can empathize with. There's always that one person straggling, getting that payment in because they got last place, and they've got issues with the commissioner, getting trades vetoed left and right.
You want to know a scandal in my league is when the winner of the league didn't actually pay their dues.
Whoa.
Yeah, they didn't know, though. We love this person.
They do get to keep their dues at the end of the day, but...
Yeah, they didn't know.
You know what they say? That's why I didn't pay, because I was going to win it anyway.
Yeah.
Got him.
But you're absolutely right. However, maybe instead of, I spend the offseason training to fight just so I need to mess someone up, how about you train to be a better hitter?
You know what he should have said?
Got him.
He said,
just saying, keep it simple.
He should have just said, that's why I stay ready, and just walked up.
Say, that's it. That's all you needed to say.
That's it.
Tommy, calm down.
Bump, which of your former teammates was always looking for a fight? Did you ever play with anybody like that?
Oh, man. When I was in college, he wasn't looking for a fight, but he was always ready for a fight. Rapati Patuatoa. And if you saw him, he is about 6'7". He will reach you from 10 feet away.
So he'll win that fight.
And he was always ready. Stuff will go down. He'd be like, don't worry, fool. Don't worry. I'm like, all right, we good.
All right, next and last up, just a quick update here, literally on the timeline. MLB has announced they've closed their investigation into Shohei Ohtani and have concluded that he is a victim of fraud. I'm going to read the statement in full. It's just 2 sentences. With today's plea in the criminal proceedings against Ippei Mizuhara and the conclusion of both federal and MLB investigations, the Dodgers are pleased that Shohei and the team can put this entire matter behind them and move forward in pursuit of a World Series. That was a statement released about an hour ago. Congratulations to your Dodgers.
I mean, what else did we expect? We knew this was all going to go down. It's Shohei Ohtani.
It is a bummer that he may be absolutely, completely hands clean, innocent, and purely the victim of fraud, as was the result and finding of, again, a federal investigation from the IRS. And yet there will always be people wondering because that's how power works.
Yeah, that's how it goes down. But no one expected really much to come from this, and if they did a thorough investigation like they say they did and he's good to go, then he's good to go. Didn't affect him anyway. He's still balling, so he's good.
Well, speaking of gambling, another athlete got caught up in a gambling scandal, and we're wondering what's truly behind the bump in these sports betting scandals. It's coming up next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
They put up 19 runs in 3 games, and coincidentally, that's after the departure of Brant Brown. Now, I don't know if there's a connection. It could be happenstance. Again, maybe this would have happened if he were still here. The Angels come to town, who are not good.
It just makes sense, I guess, that they simplified things. I mean, if you look at a guy like Cal, at this point in his career, he's probably heard everything that you can possibly hear about hitting, right? You know, maybe it just overcomplicated things. They had too many voices.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Free consultations, no fee guarantees, 5-star reviews. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains the importance of going beyond these familiar offerings.
Accident victims want an attorney, Tom, that satisfies their needs. Someone who handles those needs with the highest degree of care. Pendergast Law offers the no-fee guarantees and free consultations, but these only scratch the surface.
Okay, explain more.
We make sure that every member of our team is genuinely passionate about helping others. Customer service and communication are our top priority. It's how we take care of our clients so they always feel one step ahead of the insurance companies. Our strong reputation for high standards provides comfort and confidence when it's needed most.
Pendergast Law offers the free consultations, the no-fee guarantees, and of course, they are 5-star rated. But what really makes them different is their genuine passion for helping others. I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
That's PendergastLaw.com.
You're losing your hair and you want a simple solution that works, and you want the best. Modern technology, top-rated physicians, something that's guaranteed to work. Guys, you need world-class Dr. Parango and his team at Advanced Hair. Advanced Hair has completely redefined hair restoration, from the experience itself to the unmatched results. Receding hairline, bald spot, thinning hair. Get your hair back with Advanced Hair's simple one-day treatment that begins regrowing your own natural hair the very next day. Advanced Hair has changed tens of thousands of lives, including mine. And get this, they were recently crowned 425 Business of the Year. For your free consultation, call 425-449-8185. 425-449-8185. If you qualify, get $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. 425-449-8185. Refine your hairline with a team that's redefined hair restoration. AdvancedHair.com.
Saving for retirement was tough enough for us.
Yes, and navigating markets can be challenging at times.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we take a disciplined approach with your investments.
Tell us more about that.
We take an active approach to money management, positioning your portfolio for opportunities we see ahead.
So all your clients get the same portfolio?
No, we tailor your portfolio to your individual goals and needs.
What about communication? We don't like being left in the dark.
We check in regularly to keep you informed on the markets and your portfolio.
Which means you'll help us stay on track.
Yes, our goal is your comfortable retirement. And as a fiduciary, we always put your interests first, because we do better when you do better. At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Are you planning to go to more than one Mariners game this season? Consider a Mariners Flex membership. It's a great option for fans who want the flexibility to choose their games and seats all season long while still enjoying the perks of being a member. With a Flex membership, you'll receive benefits like savings of 10% or more on tickets with no fees, access to exclusive pre-sales, year-round discounts at the team store and the box yard, and so much more. Go to mariners.com/flex to learn more about becoming a part of the Mariners family.
Headed outdoors or on the water this weekend? Check in with Joey and Nellie on the Outdoor Line from 6 to 8 a.m. every Saturday on SeattleSports.com.
Hey, it's Mike Salk here, and this is the time of the year when all of a sudden you start seeing the ants walking along your countertops, heading after a piece of food or a wrapper, or maybe just into a drawer. Where do they come from? Who knows? But they're in your house and they're driving you crazy. Or maybe it's other bugs, or even worse, rodents. That's when you call Crawl Pros. They have a full-service pest control division, Pest Pros, to prevent bug and rodent infestations from reoccurring. They came out to my house and conducted a free corner-to-corner inspection. Now, it's especially important to keep a close eye on any signs of pest intrusion in your home during the spring. That's when rodents are in the peak of their reproductive season. So if just one makes it into your home, it could quickly turn into hundreds that can cause damage to insulation, wiring, even structural features. Or you may see an increase in bugs, specifically ants this time time of year as they are looking for a food supply. If you are worried about any type of critter that's made its way into your home, I want you to call Pest Pros or visit gopestpros.com to schedule a free inspection.
Hey, it's Dave Wyman with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD from Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Dr. Wagner is hosting a free stem cell webinar Tuesday, June 11th to explain stem cell therapy.
I'm really looking forward to this live webinar to educate on how using your own stem cells can be an extremely successful method to help regenerate native tissue in rotator cuffs, meniscus tears, and reduce pain in osteoarthritic joints.
And which joints have you seen good success with?
Shoulders, elbows, hips, knees, even wrists and ankles. And in this live webinar, we'll tell you all about the procedure, how simple and safe it is using your own stem cells, and how we determine if you're a candidate.
Dr. Wagner has performed over 20,000 stem cell procedures. Are you in pain? Join him Tuesday, June 11th at 6 p.m. for the free stem cell webinar and learn all about this amazing procedure. Register now at drmarkwagnermd.com. That's drmarkwagnermd.com.
You're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Another athlete got caught up in a gambling scandal. Here's the latest and why we're talking about it. I'll start with the news itself, Bump. Padres infielder Tucupita Marcano's been permanently banned from Major League Baseball for betting on a sport. He placed 387 bets. This was last season over a period of 5 months from July to November, totaling more than $150,000. Now, the report is also that he won just 4% of those, which is what we were joking about earlier. Like, bro, 4%? 4%?
Man.
You don't have more insight?
It's not good.
Betting on games involving your own team? Come on, man. Anyways, obviously, jokes aside, this is not a good thing. An active MLB player betting on games totaling over $100,000 in bets, and you can't do that. This is not the latest scandal that's happening. Obviously, there's Shohei Ohtani's interpreter, Ippei Mizuhara, who got caught up in this. Not Shohei himself, but Shohei was part of it. You had Jonte Porter in the NBA. It just feels like there's a lot of professional athletes, Calvin Ridley a couple years ago, getting caught up in sports betting scandals. And I know that the apps make this more prevalent, so maybe that's as simple as the answer is. But, Bump, I thought we would talk about why there's truly been a bump in sports betting scandals. Because point to Pete Rose all you want. If I said, name a couple sports betting scandals prior to this, you'd point to Pete Rose and you'd point to what's his face?
Shoeless Joe Jackson.
I was going to say you'd point to the ref.
Oh, Tim Donahue.
Tim Donahue,
yeah.
Thank you. Like, there aren't a ton of really notable.
Back.
Yeah, there aren't a ton of really notable
who
examples.
The heck is that?
What do you think is behind the bump?
First, let me say my man Marcano, is how we say his name?
Marcano, yeah.
He made $276,000 in 2024, and he made bets over $100,000. My man has a real problem.
Man.
Like, come on, finances ain't your strong point. Why is there a bump? I think because it's available. It's more accepted now in our culture when it comes to games and just people doing it. And they're, for some reason, they think they can get along with it. So I had a Ryan Roland Smith. I go, hey man, like, what's the deal with this? Are they not educating? Like, is it emphasized? What's going on? He goes, it's definitely emphasized. We talk about it in the spring training. It's out there. These guys know what they can or cannot do. And then I lean towards, I don't know if English is Marcano's first language or second language. I think it's the second, because he's from Venezuela, right? Maybe something can get lost in translation when you're dealing with players who don't speak the language, but I'm almost positive that MLB realizes they have a bunch of Latino players in their league, and they're going to give them information translating this is exactly what you can or can't do. It sounds like it's just guys being irresponsible and willing to roll the dice on a big payday. But when you place almost 400 bets and you're only hitting on 4%, something tells me that you know you're not good at this and you should probably chill for a bit. And is there another inside influence saying, look, make this bet, and that bet, and you're probably going to win some money, and it's just not working out for you? Who knows? But from what I know, they are, emphasize, or the league emphasizes gambling and what not to do and what you can do. It just sounds irresponsible to me.
From the Mac and Jacks text line, you can join this conversation, 866-979-3776. 425 says just the availability of gambling and then the advertising of gambling is a cause. Ads should be ultra limited, like cigarettes, in my opinion. Kids are impressionable. I mean, in this case, we're talking about players, but I hear what you're saying. 425 says it's all about smartphones making this easier. I wondered that too, 425.
Yeah.
360, it's legal now in the majority of states in the country. 253 says maybe they're just willing to gamble on gambling. I think there's a couple factors at play. Curtis and I were wondering if it's a lack of education, so it's interesting to hear your own experience with that, with talking to players, with the education you were given as a player, and then also talking to Ryan Rowland-Smith. That was my assumption, was like, is it not being stressed enough? I wonder then if outside of that, it's just how easy it is to gamble. Like, you don't have to go across state lines and have a bookie or maybe call someone on the phone and do this. You can have an app on your phone and your friends are doing it, and so why aren't you doing it too? Now, granted, you should know as a player you can't. And in this case, Marcano was betting on MLB games, including games involving his team that he was on. And a lot of these players that are betting on games that we're hearing about, maybe they're injured, maybe they're not actively participating. Jonte Porter, not a huge star player. So maybe they feel like they don't have something to lose, or they're just frankly being dumb and they're thinking like, well, whatever, maybe it won't count. But I wonder if it's the availability of betting apps.
I'm sure that plays a role into it, and maybe some of these guys get caught up in the moment. Like when my wife is talking to me sometimes and I don't think it's relevant to what I got going on, I just blank out sometimes and just and I don't take in the information. So maybe they're getting that information and they're not taking it. And man, people are on my head for not knowing Shoeless Joe Jackson. I know the Black Sox scandal, but I don't know Shoeless Joe. So.
It's okay to not know a player who's currently been deceased.
No, they're on my head right now, so I'll look them up. But
why don't you know this player from forever ago?
I mean, it's a
if you know famous scandal. It's a very famous scandal, but I think it's a forgivable offense.
But sometimes they miss information, or it's just the why am I blanking on that word I'm looking for right now? It's when you want something. The temptation. Thank you, Michael. Bless you. Thank you. It's the temptation that gets you sometimes. You know how many guys I know that get parlays going? They're like, oh man, look, man, I got this 3-game parlay going. I'm a hit. I'm close. Then that same guy misses it, and then he does a 10-game parlay. I go, you just missed on the 3. How you gonna go on a 10-game parlay?
Yeah.
People have their vices, and temptation is a you know what. So it got them.
I wonder if someone pointed out the increased technology that makes it easier to gamble also makes it easier for people to catch people who are gambling.
For sure.
The unspoken thing that you can't really point to because there's no proof that it happened is that athletes have previously gambled and been involved with betting, but it wasn't as easy to track them because they weren't signing up on apps using their names where you can see that they're doing it.
Look, athletes gamble all the time. These are just the guys who are getting caught. It ain't going to stop. They just got more cash transactions.
That's what I'm saying.
Is how this goes down.
I would not be surprised to hear that there have been athletes in any major league that have been involved with betting before, but maybe they had a friend do it, and it was back in the day where you pick up a telephone, like a landline, and you call your bookie, and it's all on the low, and no one's tracking it because they aren't using, the apps to figure it out. Granted, stupid is stupid. You know you can't bet on games.
You can't do it.
Don't sign up for an app using your name and bet on games that you're currently a player of that team. Just simply don't do it. But I think that technology is maybe the answer to this entire thing as opposed to teams. I don't think the answer is, it's MLB being hypocritical, partnering with gambling things, and it's a lack of education. Like, I think I've settled on that not being the big thing here. I think it's just, it's easier to do.
And stupidity.
Stupid meets technology, and you have a betting problem. You're listening to Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app. Coming up, we began the show by talking about the 4 things we learned from an explosive interview with John Stanton in the Seattle Times. There is a 5th thing, and it might be the most important. That's coming up next.
The Dugout. Go in depth with the Mariners.
Leaps up and he makes the catch.
With voices like Ryan Roland Smith, Gary Hill, and Mike Blowers.
Long-term pitching, if you have that foundation, good things are going to happen.
It makes him so valuable when he's hitting.
This team is a team that's going to have to bunch hits together, put pressure on the defense.
Hear from the players and coaches, and go behind the scenes with insider Shannon Dreyer.
They find a way to grind it out, stay in the game. I thought it was a really good win for them.
The Dugout, Tuesdays at 1 p.m. on Seattle Sports.
Oh, how nice is it to have these long days back? Mike Salk here, and it really does make waking up for this show at 4 a.m. a whole lot easier when it's already a little bit light outside. And then after work, maybe even sneak in 18 holes all before that late sunset. Well, you know who else loves these long days? Riverside Roofing and all their customers. Long sunny days, that means they can turn around jobs more quickly. Have a roof project that you've been kicking around? Call Riverside Roofing and get on their schedule now. They're cranking out jobs all over Western Washington. I've heard from customers texting into the show who've trusted them, and I myself have been such a pleased, proud customer. The sooner you decide, the sooner you can have this project done, and additionally, you can handpick the best roofing company on the market. For me, that's Riverside Roofing. Go to riversideroofingllc.com right now and get a quick quote on your project. It won't even take 60 seconds. It's Riverside Roofing, family-owned and Master Elite GAF certified. Riverside Roofing, the roofing company you can trust.
It's Cookies Country Chicken Saucy Reminder. 10 sauces. You know where? At Cookies. They've got that real good chicken.
So many sauces.
Fresh fried chicken any way you like it. At Cookies. CookiesCountryChicken.com.
0% financing. Yes, Mazda of Everett is offering 0% financing. 0% financing available on new Mazda CX-5s. 0% financing available on new Mazda CX-30s. 0% financing available on new Mazda CX-50s. 0% financing available on new Mazda CX-90s. Shop over 675 new Mazdas available with 0% financing. Shop MazdaofEverett.com and click Get the Mazda of Everett price. 0% for 36 months. Available on all new Mazda CX-5s, Mazda CX-30s, Mazda CX-50s, Mazda CX-90s on approved credit.
This June, for Men's Health Month, we're partnering with Swedish Cyberknife to encourage men to speak about their physical and mental health with family members and medical professionals. Hi, it's Dave Wyman. An important topic is prostate cancer, the second most common cancer in American men after skin cancer. When detected early, prostate cancer is curable with several treatment options. One of the most effective treatment methods for prostate cancer is with Swedish Cyberknife, and it's right here in Seattle. Swedish Cyberknife requires only 5 short treatment sessions, each lasting less than an hour. It's non-surgical, non-invasive, and patients can typically maintain their usual daily schedule during and after treatment. This June, during Men's Health Month, consult with your medical professional about your risk of prostate cancer. To learn more about Cyberknife for prostate cancer treatment, go to swedish.org/cyberknifeprostate. Or give them a call, 206-320-7187. Treat prostate cancer with Swedish Cyberknife.
Want to listen to Seattle sports on your smart speaker?
Hey, smart speaker, play Seattle sports.
This message is powered by the EQC Sportsbook at Emerald Queen Casino. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
Paid for by government.com. Have you heard? A recent stash of 1902 Morgan silver dollar coins has been found. These gorgeous 1902 silver dollar coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck, and less than 300 of these Morgan silver dollars are available. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone interested in silver coins. Just call government at 1-800-806-1641, and you are guaranteed a mint condition 1902 Morgan silver dollar featuring the iconic O mint mark of the New Orleans Mint, but with limited quantity. You must call now. These 1902 silver coins are still in uncirculated condition. That is 122 years of history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-806-1641. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $25 value free with every order. Call 1-800-806-1641 now to secure your 1902 Morgan silver dollars before they sell out. That's 1-800-806-1641.
You're losing your hair and you want a simple solution that works, and you want the best. Modern technology, top-rated physicians, something that's guaranteed to work. Guys, you need world-class Dr. Parango and his team at Advanced Hair. Advanced Hair has completely redefined hair restoration, from the experience itself to the unmatched results. Receding hairline, bald spot, thinning hair. Get your hair back with Advanced Hair's simple one-day treatment that begins regrowing your own natural hair the very next day. Advanced Hair hair has changed tens of thousands of lives, including mine. And get this, they were recently crowned 425 Business of the Year. For your free consultation, call 425-449-8185, 425-449-8185. If you qualify, get $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. 425-449-8185. Refine your hairline with a team that's redefined hair restoration. AdvancedHair.com.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Following a day off after a series in which they swept the Angels, the Mariners are back at it. This time a series against the Oakland A's in Oakland. That begins tonight at 6:40 p.m. Another betting scandal in baseball. Padres infielder Tucupita Marcano's been dealt a lifetime ban for betting on baseball games. This was over a 5-month period from July to November last year. It includes games involving the Pittsburgh Pirates, with whom he played with last season.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This is Bump and Stacy
On Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. We're an hour away from the dugout. All Mariners 1-2, and that means we're 45 minutes away from what I need to know. So get your questions into the Mac and Jack's text line. I already have a question I'm so excited to answer. So excited. Someone said, what's the craziest red flag you've seen in someone's relationship? And did you say anything? So I'm trying to think of the radio-friendly version that I can give to that. But man, did I think of a few. I can't wait. Okay, so that's coming up at 45 after. Before we get to it, John Stanton, an explosive interview with the Seattle Times. Credit Ryan Divish and Adam Jude for getting this one. The Mariners chairman said 5 things that stood out to us. Bump, you and I covered the first 4 things that we learned from this. For the purposes of it having been 2 hours since then, we'll revisit. Number 1, John Stanton extended his support to Justin and Jerry at the trade deadline. Number 2, this is the spicy one to me. He says, I expect the Mariners to win the AL West. The natural question is, well, what happens if they don't? I don't know. We'll find out. Number 3, he reiterates that offseason decisions were baseball decisions. He said the loss of revenue from Root is not the reason we've made these decisions over the last couple of years, making it clear that team building strategies haven't been affected by Root.
You said we cheat. It don't matter. We cheat.
We are. Okay. We love Ross. Shop for less. And then the 4th one was he's open to extensions for core players. He pointed to Julio's contract and said he's open to similar extensions for, some of those guys. He didn't name them. We can assume it's Cal. We can assume it's Logan. We can assume it's George Kirby. The 5th thing is maybe the most important in terms of the Mariners' long-term financial future. And that is that it sure seems like John is hoping that the Mariners can benefit from MLB figuring out a large streaming service or cable package or something. This is what's happening so that Mariners fans should know. There is a separate issue going on with Diamond Sports Group, which owns Bally's Roots regional sports network. And they own the rights to 12 MLB teams. The Mariners aren't one of those teams, obviously. The hope is that those 12 teams somehow work with MLB to nationalize MLB Network, where maybe the Mariners can join that kind of deal. So for anyone wondering about the future of Root, the future of watching the Mariners, how easy it'll be to watch the Mariners and John Stanton are keeping a close eye on what's going on with Diamond Sports Group. Now, I know that sounds a little boring and it sounds a little convoluted and complicated, but Bump, essentially the biggest and most important point is that the Mariners are hoping that baseball just becomes more accessible at large to fans everywhere.
And it sounds like they're not depending on that to influence what they're going to do with this roster and what they're going to spend. It sounds like they have a number and a way of doing things that is not affected by what's going on that side. And in my opinion, that's where the owners come in clutch the most is, all right, make more money, bring in more revenue, and then let's see what you can do with it. But it sounds like it doesn't matter. They have a way of doing what they want to do. One thing that stuck out to me, too, is that he thinks this team can hit. And they clearly can't hit at times, but not hit consistently. So if you think this team can hit, how is that going to influence how aggressive or not aggressive you are at this trade deadline? Are you looking at this roster and saying they're going to fix it? They're going to get better. And I think in ways they have gotten better, but nothing's fixed. They still lead the league when it comes to strikeouts. They're last in doubles. They're 20th when it comes to triples, 26th when it comes to runs scored. Like the things that you look at, just the basic numbers you look at to form an opinion on if a team it's good at something, especially in baseball hitting, they're just not there yet. So that gives me an insight on what he thinks his team is. He thinks they're talented than how they are performing. And at times I feel the same way, and I can agree with him. Another thing that sticks out to me is that he said he wants to keep the young talent here. Well, you know what? You're going to have to pay that young talent to stay here because there are other teams who are looking at Cal Raleigh, Ty France, Logan, and saying, we'll pay him. Well, how much? What's your payroll? 138, 140, something like that? We got money to spend over here. We're not afraid to do it. So you're going to be in competition with other organizations to keep your players. Who holds the most value to you, and are you willing to do something that you typically haven't done, which is pay these guys, and sometimes overpay, because that's what talent makes you do. A guy who is a top 5 when it comes to slugging, and hitting bombs and stuff, he might get paid more than he's really worth because you get into bidding wars, and I'm not comfortable with the Mariners in a bidding war.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, though. I thank Stanton for coming out and giving us something. Because for a while, for almost a year now, since the interview last year, was it last year you did the interview?
For the original one or for
the King
this
5.
one right here?
King 5. That was last year. It was March last year. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I think it was March last year.
No, it's March of this year.
That was that. The 54%?
Or
that was Jerry DePoto.
That was like October.
Yeah, that was
of
last year.
Okay.
Stan was March of this year.
Okay, March this year. Feels like a year ago. What they give us doesn't give us concrete, this is how I feel and think. It's kind of just dance around the bush. And,
right.
Hey,
we want to win.
Yeah. Everyone's having fun. And so I appreciate him coming out and putting himself out there, because whenever we mention Stanton, the text lines blow up and there's not many positive things that are said about him. But it's important to realize, or at least get an insight on how they think and how they see this team and what their approach could be.
So 2 things to come from that. Before we get to the broader picture of what broadcasting in MLB could look like in a couple years and what it looks like for the Mariners, I'll take a look at just the team building aspect that you looked at first. In particular, looking at those young players. When I was growing up, and Curtis, you know this too, having grown up here, and then later when I was an older teenager, which puts the 2001 kind of 2-3 season smack dab in the middle. The whole thing about the Mariners is, they're like a farm system for the Yankees. And that obviously stemmed from Alex Rodriguez, who did not go to the Yankees at first.
Yeah, he went to the Rangers.
To the Rangers at first. But that's where that whole idea came from, is they lose all the time, they're not very good, and the very best players go somewhere else eventually. And that's how people saw the Mariners, or how I remember it being told to me when I was growing up. And it has been a while since there has been a player that I really, really, really cared about, that I thought, they need to make sure they hang on to this guy. And it's been a while since they've had a player as talented as Julio. Julio's not going anywhere. But there is part of me that wonders, is Cal going to go to the East Coast? His family's from the Southeast. Maybe he wants to go play there. Is Kirby going to feel like there's enough offense here? He's a very passionate, serious guy. Is he going to feel like there's enough offense here to support him, or is he going to take his talents to a place where he knows he can get to a World Series?
Grew up right outside of New York City.
And he grew up outside of New York. Is Logan going to stay here, or know that he can get enough money elsewhere to go and be their ace, right? Like, what does it look like for these 3 guys? Those are going to be tough contracts to figure out.
Prepare yourself, because the chances are that they're going to lose somebody. And when and if they lose somebody, the fans are going to look back at this approach and say, that's why you lost him, instead of possibly looking at the situation and saying that's business in professional sports, is you're going to lose guys. You're not going to be able to keep your team together forever. So that's the tough part, is that I can see it. I can see them losing an arm or losing a bat and the fans just being upset if they do not win this division and make a run in the playoffs. It's going to be tough. But because ownership isn't it's not advantageous for them to be super transparent with us, it just leaves uneasy feelings when people digest what a Stanton is saying, and we try to read between the lines and figure out what exactly is going to happen. It leads us to speculate. And when you have a team that hasn't had the best history when it comes to getting into the playoffs and haven't been to a World Series, frustration is going to come out. But this is why Stanton is the guy that he is. Like him or not, he's one of the owners in this situation, and he put himself out there. And I can respect that. Even if I don't agree with the approach and I don't necessarily have clarity in some of the things that he's saying, I can appreciate that he put himself out there because Stanton knows, man, people can be harsh. People can be harsh, and we have our opinions, and that's just part of our job. But Stanton knows, man, that they got to get some W's here pretty soon.
Let's take a look at the non-baseball product and instead look at just the future of streaming. Now, this conversation can easily get kind of boring for people, so here's why I think it's important and what makes it a little more interesting. Baseball is a product, right? So John Stanton in this article says, if there's a larger group of teams, so that would be like, these 12 teams as part of this Diamond Sports Group, maybe the Mariners can join it. If there's a larger group of teams that are part of MLB Network, that gives them more leverage with distributors, and it makes us more attractive. So that would be a possibility for us. I want John Stanton's hope to come true, where Major League Baseball is able to have a bigger plan. MLB Network carries these teams, and it makes baseball as accessible or even, half as accessible as NFL games are to people. And I don't care what anyone says. I have to subscribe to Peacock to watch the Chiefs and the Dolphins. I don't care. What I'm saying is football is very accessible. And not only that, but on a random Monday night, I will tune on my TV and I will tune in to watch the Jags take on the Falcons. And I will tune in to watch a bad 2 years ago Texans team take on the Colts, whatever it is. Like, that's how high the appetite and desire is for football. I don't know that baseball can do that. And how can they? Baseball is just fundamentally a different product. Bad baseball is bad. Bad football is chaotic.
Yeah.
There's two different products.
Not every team can do it. I think in the NFL, every team can draw some eyes because you have a superstar or a player over there that you want to see, or you're playing against somebody and you only get it once a week. With baseball, because you have so many games, ain't nobody watching the A's right now. No one is watching the A's right now.
No. Who's watching White Sox A's? Who's tuning in for that?
No one's watching the Angels really right now because there's so many games, and a quarter of the way through the season, you can look at a team and be like, they're done. There's nothing to play for. And you almost get force-fed these teams because you're playing 3, 4, 5, 6 games a week. So you're right. The product is completely different. The Red Sox, the Yankees, the Dodgers, the Astros, even they're struggling right now. They will always draw a crowd because they have a history of winning. So that crowd has that appetite for winning and belief. But when you're dealing with organizations who have not won in a long time or ever, when you're dealing with the Mariners, as soon as you start losing, it's here we go again. Why do I want to watch these guys lose for 162 games? It's just a totally different product, like you pointed out.
I think that football de-incentivizes tanking, and not only that, but makes tanking more complicated and difficult than does baseball. In baseball, there have been teams that have unsuccessfully tanked, and then there have been teams that have very successfully lost. The Orioles, Houston Astros. I don't know that you would say they tanked so much as they, quote, rebuilt, whereas the Orioles very clearly were like, we're bombing. And it's worked out for both of those organizations. You also have to have a really good front office. You have to really hit on all of your draft picks. And not only that, but those guys have to develop and stay healthy and be able to have that linear success and growth. It's any given year in the NFL. Any year, your team, you could tune in and go, I'm a Texans team, but we got this young quarterback, C.J. Stroud. I think this year could be fun. Lo and behold, you make the playoffs. Suddenly you're having a really fun season. It is hard to get people that are not regional fans of that team to really care about a baseball team enough to tune in.
It's I think in football, one player isn't going to win a game, but one player, especially at the quarterback spot, specifically the quarterback spot, can elevate everyone else's game. It's okay. We believe we have a quarterback. You got Mike Trout. You have Mike Trout and Ohtani. I mean, baseball is such an individual team sport. It's like they can do their job to the fullest, and still it's not enough to help a team change their trajectory or the perception of that team. But again, that's the beauty of baseball. The thing about baseball is that the best teams get in the playoffs. Ain't no sneaking in the playoffs. In basketball, you have a team sneak in. The Eastern Conference is weak this year. You got a team below 500. In football, we saw a 7-9 Seahawk team get in just because the division was bad.
And that team was great.
And that team was great. Beastquake, hey, they won the first round.
They
beat the Saints, right?
Yep.
Just in baseball, it just weeds out the weak, man. And I can appreciate that about baseball, but it also hurts them because you can determine who a team is not early when it comes to the amount of games, but earlier into the season.
Last question, and Curtis, feel free to answer as well. I'm kind of spinning this to you and Bump, so that gives two voices since I've already said how I feel about it. I mentioned that I don't know if MLB made it like the NFL, where you could tune into MLB Network and you can watch any game you wanted anywhere in the country, that I don't know that you would get the drive for baseball that you do with football because they're fundamentally different products. That being said, if you dropped blackout restrictions and you made baseball more accessible to as many fans, do you think that would change?
Nah, I don't. Because superstars fail so much in baseball. They fail. You'll have a guy who's batting 300. He's going to go a series where he's 1 for 9, 1 for 8, and not producing. Even the bad teams give you some type of performances, right? I'm looking at all the NFL teams right now. And there's not one team I look at and I go, I'm not interested because there's nobody on that team that's going to have performances more than half of the time they go out there and play. It's the individual. And when you deal with baseball and that individual who's your superstar is going to fail, and then he's 30%, which is awesome. He's going to the Hall of Fame. And then he drops down to 25, 20% in success rate. I think it turns people off. Baseball is not the casual sports fans' sport because it's so long and there's so much failure. Football, man, you get it once a week. Your team plays once a week. There's big hits. There's big catches. It's more exciting. Baseball just doesn't have that same appeal.
Curtis, what do you think?
I think you would see viewership increase in markets that aren't here in the Seattle area. Like, I think about cities that don't have a baseball team right now that live within the distance of another team that Major League Baseball considers it to be their local team. I think the city of Las Vegas has like the A's, the Giants, the Dodgers, the Angels, like all these teams that are considered the local team that nobody can watch in that market. And you're basically saying you don't have access to a quarter of the league just because of these like weird geographic restrictions that nobody really knows why they exist. I think the state of Iowa, you can't watch like the Cubs, the White Sox, the Cardinals, the Brewers, like all these teams in the Midwest, the Royals, because you're within a certain amount of hours of that city. And it's like, well, like if I was a White Sox fan growing up in Iowa, like not being able to watch my team, like I wouldn't even have interest in the sport. So I do think Major League Baseball's blackout restrictions are very archaic. And I think lifting those would allow for a lot of people who don't have access to those teams the ability to finally watch them.
From the 206, I firmly believe bad NFL games on a Thursday get ratings because of fantasy football. Now, I disagree. I think fantasy football has obviously increased not just the money around football and has made jobs like Adam Schefter's insanely profitable. But I think it's the nature of the game itself. Like, I think that I have almost all of my friends are casual sports fans. I don't have any friend. I will say in my group of my very, very best friends, one of them could tell you who Aaron Donald is. I'm sorry if you think they're all very smart, capable people, but they're not hardcore fans. Every single one of them would say yes to tickets to go to a Seahawks game and watch a football game. I could not get them to stay outside of like my very best friend. I don't know that I could get them to stay through a baseball game. It's just a different sport. The pace is different. The nature of the game is different. It is a beautiful sport. Yeah. But one that the nature of it makes what John Stanton and the Mariners are dealing with and what these teams are dealing with the Bally Regional Sports Network very complicated. Because can MLB create a national product that would be worth taking all of that on?
What do people like violence, excitement, And baseball just doesn't do that. You have your excitement when someone hits a home run. That's the biggest play in baseball, right? But how often are you going to get a home run in a game? Maybe once, twice. If you got lucky, the Mets hit 3 or 4 of them things the other night. It just doesn't happen like that. The biggest play in baseball doesn't happen as often as the negative plays in baseball or the unsuccessful plays. That's why it doesn't grab just the casual fan. If you can't buy into going to T-Mobile Park and being out there in the sun and having a brew, not even paying attention to every pitch of the game, but just getting in that atmosphere, then I think you can really understand that. But because it doesn't appeal to the casual person on TV, they're like, why would I go to the game and spend my money there? It's a beautiful game. It's been here forever. It ain't going nowhere. I think there are enough people to support the league, but Americans, man, they're real simple. Make it fast, make it violent, make it exciting. They'll show up.
Well, and keep that limited, right? 162 games versus I tuned into one game on Sunday and watched what that was, and then I had my whole week to myself. And again, I think baseball is a beautiful sport. You think baseball is a beautiful sport. Curtis certainly thinks so. Matt, we don't know. He's not really a huge fan, but
I like going to the game because it's an excuse to drink outside.
And honestly, baseball games are one of those things where that's why it's so regional. You go to it, it's part of a local culture. It's just fundamentally different, and like it makes the Mariners' future in terms of, and every team's future in terms of trying to find out how to best air your games really interesting. And Curtis, you pointed this out. Is a team like the Yankees going to want to share in any of that profit when it comes to
good luck convincing them.
Right.
Good luck convincing the Dodgers. Good luck convincing the Cubs, who their games are broadcast. I think they're still broadcast nationally. Whereas, you got teams like the A's and the Rays and all those teams that are trying to even just carve out a niche for themselves in their own market. Like, good luck trying to convince all those teams that have these great TV deals, like, hey, we want you to share an equal slice of the pie with all these other teams that don't have it.
Someone said, no one wanted to see the Seahawks before Pete Carroll. Sorry, bump. Once they started winning, ticket prices tripled. Seahawks games are popular. Once the Mariners win a World Series, people want to go to games and see them more. Now, I think the last part is fundamentally true. Once the Mariners win a World Series, people will want to go to games and see them more. When you are a successful team, you can up your ticket prices. You can up prices for everything. Everyone wants to be part of it. I mean, when this team was in a wild card series, the entire town. Like, I was at a hair salon, and the girl at the front desk was like, go Ams. I was like, yes, girl. Like, no matter what. Like, people, it was a baseball town, and it was really fun. I also think that the two sports are fundamentally different.
Yeah.
In terms of what you can use to draw people in. Baseball needs winning.
Baseball is golf, man. Like, if it ain't something you do, you will not find any joy in that. My wife does not watch baseball. She don't watch golf. She hardly watches football. But if she's going to pick out of those 3 sports, she's going to pick football every single time.
All right, you guys, we are going to head to the dugout coming up at 1 p.m. Mariners insider Shannon Dreyer is going to join us from Oakland. We're going to hear from Mariners broadcaster Gary Hill, and then Mariners reliever Mike Bowman is going to join us to wrap things up. It is all Mariners from 1 to 2, which means What I Need to Know is coming up at 12:45. I need more questions from you guys. 866-979-3776. Coming up next, though, heading to the station for Hype Train.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk.
The Mariners had made a change. Brant Brown, their, quote, offensive coordinator and bench coach, had been let go. Everyone liked the idea of trying to bring in a hitting coach and somebody with a different and new philosophy to try to change things up from where they were. When it didn't work, fail fast and move on.
That's right.
Right? And
because I think the thought was last year you were second only to the Twins in strikeouts. And the Twins, by the way, set an all-time Major League Baseball record in those number of strikeouts.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
You're losing your hair and you want a simple solution that works. And you want the best. Modern technology, top-rated physicians, something that's guaranteed to work. Guys, you need world-class Dr. Parango and his team at Advanced Hair. Advanced Hair has completely redefined hair restoration, from the experience itself to the unmatched results. Receding hairline, bald spot, thinning hair. Get your hair back with Advanced Hair's simple one-day treatment that begins regrowing your your own natural hair the very next day. Advanced Hair has changed tens of thousands of lives, including mine. And get this, they were recently crowned 425 Business of the Year. For your free consultation, call 425-449-8185. 425-449-8185. If you qualify, get $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. 425-449-8185. Refine your hairline with a team that's redefined hair restoration. AdvancedHair.com.
If you've been in a wreck or a fender bender,
You have the right to take your vehicle to any repair facility, not just where your insurance company tells you to go. Accurate Auto Body has been family owned and operated since 1994, and they work for you, not your insurance company. With over 25 years of auto repair work, they'll exceed your expectations.
we meet by accident, fixing every last dent. Accurate Auto Body.
At Accurate Auto Body, all their work is performed by certified technicians, only using OEM parts to guarantee the safety of you and your family. For the best in auto body collision repair and customer service, give them a call at 425-883-2450 or AccurateAutobody.wa.com. Your insurance company may not love them, but you will, because
We meet by accident, fixing every last dent. Accurate Auto Body.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Are you looking for a construction loan to build your dream home? Are you a local builder needing a better financing option for your next spec project? Hi, I'm Scott Rireka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital in Bellevue. Stop wasting time with local banks and credit unions and their endless guidelines. We're the experts for common sense residential construction loans. We lend our own money, we make our own decisions. And if your deal makes sense, we'll get it done fast with flexible terms. For homeowners, we advise you every step of the way with things like budget and timeline, ensuring the completion of your dream home. For builders, Legacy's not only your lender, we'll source your next deal, provide permitting services, and if you're short on equity, we'll invest alongside of you. Legacy Group Capital has lent more than $1 billion, helping over 130 local builders and hundreds of homeowners. We can help you.
Construction loans don't have to be hard. Borrow smart with a common sense construction loan from Legacy Group Capital. Visit LegacyG.com. LegacyG.com.
Subscribe to the Seattle Sports YouTube page to find new and exclusive content from your favorite shows and personalities daily. Just head to YouTube, search Seattle Sports, and click subscribe.
Hey, it's Mike Salk here, and if you're looking for a fun night out, well, you know Snoqualmie Casino is just the place to go. Have some fun and unwind. Fall's Buffet is back open. They're serving up all your favorites. You can enjoy prime rib daily, plus fresh pasta, made-to-order stir-fry and noodles and pizzas and salad bar and dessert bar. They got the pies made every day. And then Vista Prime has amazing happy hour menus, which start at 4 o'clock, and those breathtaking views of the Snoqualmie Valley and Mount Si. You know it's Seattle's closest, only 30 minutes from downtown. It is Snoqualmie Casino.
0% financing. Yes, Mazda of Everett is offering 0% financing. 0% financing available on new Mazda CX-5s. 0% financing available on new Mazda CX-30s. 0% financing available on new Mazda CX-50s. 0% financing available on new Mazda CX-90s. Shop over 675 new Mazdas available with 0% financing. Shop MazdaofEverett.com and click Get the Mazda of Everett price. 0% for 36 months. Available on all new Mazda CX-5s, Mazda CX-30s, Mazda CX-50s, Mazda CX-90s on approved credit.
Hey, it's Dave Wyman with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD from Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Dr. Wagner is hosting a free stem cell webinar Tuesday, June 11th to explain stem cell therapy.
I'm really looking forward to this live webinar to educate on how using your own stem cells can be an extremely successful method to help regenerate native tissue in rotator cuffs, meniscus tears, and reduce pain in osteoarthritic joints.
And which joints have you seen good success with?
Shoulders, elbows, hips, knees, even wrists and ankles. And in this live webinar, we'll tell you all about the procedure, how simple and safe it is using your own stem cells, and how we determine if you're a candidate.
Dr. Wagner has performed over 20,000 stem cell procedures. Are you in pain? Join him Tuesday, June 11th at 6 p.m. for the free stem cell webinar and learn all about this amazing procedure. Register now at drmarkwagnermd.com. That's drmarkwagnermd.com.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2
on Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Get your questions in for What I Need to Know. We are 15 minutes out. That number, 866-979-3776. Someone already sent in a really good one. It can be sports or not sports. Sometimes the not sports are my favorites. They said, what's the craziest red flag you've seen in someone's relationship, and did you say anything? Ooh, I can't wait for that one. I don't know that I have like a great answer, but I love when the text line responds, so then I get texters giving me great answers. 866-979-3776. Right now, we're heading to the station for Hype Train. Let's go. First one in here on Thursday, 5:30 p.m. tip-off, the Dallas Mavericks taking on the Boston Celtics as we begin the NBA Finals Game 1. Your Hype Train is simple. It's not about this game or the next. The Celtics win the finals.
Heck no. Celtics ain't doing nothing. Now, Tatum, I respect Tatum. I respect Brown. I respect White. The old head over there, Al Horford. I've been watching you playing since I was 12, it seems like. Look, I respect good organizations and leadership over there, and they have it. But you know where I'm from. 17 championships. They got 17 championships. We can't let them pass us up. It ain't going down. And Luka, the start to his career is better than LeBron's start to his career. So, Luka, you need this. If in 15 years you pass up LeBron, I wouldn't be mad at you at all. Celtics, you get nothing from me. No belief, no desire. Ain't happening.
The Celtics win the NBA Finals. Michael Bumpus, Lakers fan, says no and is not boarding. Curtis, are you boarding this train?
I want the Mavericks to win so bad. I don't root for the Celtics at all. That whole Celtics franchise missed me with that. Unfortunately, they're getting Kristaps Porzingis back for game number 1, and I think that makes them even more loaded than they are. Dallas, kind of a two-man show. Luka and Kyrie. Celtics, a little more well-rounded. I am rooting for the Mavericks so hard, but I think Boston does it. So I will board this train begrudgingly. I'm trying to get off, but the conductor's like, nope. You sit back down, sir.
Curtis, you're dead to me for 20 seconds.
I know.
Just 20 seconds, though.
I'm disappointed in myself, too. I'm disappointed in myself.
I am boarding this train.
Oh,
it's not that I want it to happen. Boston gets everything. This is a sports town that has an amazing sports identity, and I hate that for them because they constantly win. And I know that Red Sox fans and Patriots fans will point to periods of time where their teams went maybe a couple decades without winning. Oh, I'm so sorry. Then you had dynasties.
In 2000 hit.
I hate it. I absolutely hate it, but they've been the best team, and it is so hard not to look at a top seed and go, why would it not? They're heavily favored for a reason.
Do it for Kyrie. Do it for Kyrie, Mavericks.
Hope it's not. Next up, the Mariners are coming off of the sweep of the Angels. They're heading to Oakland for maybe a sweep of the A's. That's your Hype Train. They get a second sweep in a row.
All right, so it's 3 games, not 4, right? We got 3 games. Okay, so sweep. I'm gonna go out there and say yeah, and I think they can do it, but I think they need to do it as well because after this they got the Royals who are gonna put up a fight. And it's just good vibes, man. I want to believe in what I'm seeing. Won 7 out of 8 games. Some guys are stepping up and playing well. The arms have been solid all year. Beat the teams you're supposed to beat. Take care of the A's.
The Mariners will get a second sweep in a row. Curtis, you boarding?
Second in a row. Boy, that'd make them 10 games over 500 on June 6th. And I think they do it. I think the A's are really struggling. Since the Mariners played the A's at the beginning of beginning of May, the A's have not won consecutive ball games since then. They have lost a bunch of games. I think this A's team is reeling, and I think the Mariners are starting to pick up some steam. So I think the Mariners do sweep the Oakland A's in this 3-game series. They've got the advantage of starting pitching every single game, and hopefully that offense can keep the momentum of the Angel series going.
I think that a sweep of the A's will be harder than people think. They can sometimes be pesky and like a little gnat. You want to swat them away, but they're a little better than you think at times. However, I think this is going to be a sweep, and I also like the idea of it being a sweep. Following this article where John Stanton said that he'll support Jerry and Justin at the trade deadline, if you're looking at a Mariners team that is doing really well at a deadline, as opposed to last year when they were kind of struggling. We knew that the expectation was to get back to the playoffs, but it was tough to determine whether they'd be pure buyers or pure sellers or somewhere in between. The more you win, the more obvious you as a buyer needs to be. And I want that pressure on this team, so I'm here for it. I'm calling a sweep. Next up, Darren Waller released an amazing tune. If you guys haven't heard it, don't worry.
Because there's haters.
Matt Soap said, did you see his face? Okay, Matt, sorry, I'll stop. Just kidding. He's so mad.
It is hard to be free.
I'm just
gonna have to do
That's right.
without hearing anything.
Ready? Here we go. Take your time to heal.
It's growing on me.
Kelsey Plum releases a music video in response to ex-husband Darren Waller.
Yeah, but it's gonna be a diss track though. Shit was like, it's gonna be like a DMX song. Wanda, Shalonda, Vonda, Vonda. He's gonna start naming all the chicks he messed with. So yes, give me that horn, baby. Diss track. Get him, Kelsey.
Oh, God. Kelsey Plum releases a music video in response to, I would love that bump if hers just goes hard and his is like, take your time to feel. And she just comes out, yeah. Kelsey Plum releases a music video in response to ex-husband Darren Waller. Bump is actually boarding this train.
Yep.
Curtis, are you?
I want to see a response music video from her in the worst way possible. We don't get enough drama like this in athlete relationships. And to turn to the medium of music video, which I think is a dying art because MTV doesn't play music videos anymore, I think this would be a really cool thing to have happen. So I think she does release a music video. We're boarding that train. Let's go.
Yes. I love Kelsey Plum. I'll say this. You don't typically get just one half of a couple that's a little crazy. Crazy marries crazy, man.
That's true.
Weird people love weird people. I could absolutely see there is a world where Kelsey says, you know what? Yeah, let's dive into this. Would I love for her to say it and do absolutely nothing and just go about living her wonderful life?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I would. However, would I absolutely stop everything I'm doing, drop everything I'm doing to take a listen to whatever she releases? Yes, I would.
Sure.
So
what
I'm
is
boarding this
it
train.
with Husky athlete greats marrying
Hope
crazy
Solo?
tight ends? Hope Solo,
I
Jeremy
mean,
Stevens,
crazy in
Kelsey
very
Plum,
different
and Darren
ways.
Waller.
Look,
Are Kelsey and Darren the new Hope and Jeremy?
bow down. You know what I mean? Go Dogs. Someone said, that Petey Pablo? Next up.
253. That auto-tune budget must be crazy.
Dodgers released a statement earlier this morning announcing that Shohei Ohtani officially cleared of all charges. Everything is done. The investigation is concluded. Shohei Ohtani truly was the victim of a fraud. That's your final hype train. Shohei Ohtani truly did not know his interpreter, Ipe Mizuhara, was gambling with his money.
With his money, I don't think he knew that. Gambling, like issue, I think he knew his boy had a problem. I got 4 best friends, and I can point out every one of their flaws as they can point out mine. And I know if I get in this situation, this dude's going wild. We get another situation, that guy's going wild. We know each other, and we don't even spend as much time with each other as Shohei Ohtani and his interpreter. So I think he didn't know he was gambling with his money, but he knew he might have had a problem.
Shohei Ohtani truly did not know his interpreter, Ipe Mizuhara, was gambling with his money. Curtis, you're boarding.
I'm not boarding this train. He knew. This conspiracy goes all the way to the top. It reminds me of this quote from college basketball head coach Jerry Tarkanian. We saw today that 5 Major League Baseball players who were kind of on the fringe of Major League Baseball were suspended from gambling. He said this about how NCAA probation works. He goes, the NCAA was so mad at Kentucky basketball that they gave Cleveland State 2 more years of probation. That's what this reminds me of. Major League Baseball is taking it out on these peons. Shohei Ohtani's getting off scot-free.
I think there's this natural part of me that understands that when you are not just incredibly powerful as an individual, but incredibly powerful culturally, he means a ton to Japan. There are lots of people willing to take a fall for you and willing to hold you up as kind of the face of, Japanese baseball, the face of, right now, the Dodgers, of Major League Baseball there for right now. I also think that it's possible Shohei knew absolutely nothing. And look, I'm going to be the person that just says, well, the feds told us it didn't happen, which is maybe a stupid thing to do. But an IRS investigation, a federal investigation, found absolutely no reason to believe this. And look, they aren't being led by Rob Manfred, okay? Mm-hmm. If they found out he did, they don't got teams that they've got to make sure are healthy and safe and whatever. It's not up to them to make sure Shohei can collect his check and play baseball. They would have been like, look, this is what we found. What do you want us to do? And they didn't find anything. So I'm going to say no, not boarding this train. I don't think he knew, and I don't think he knew it was his money. Also, the one thing that stands out to me about the report is eBay calling the bank pretending to be Shohei.
Yeah.
I really do think that he had just handed the keys to his life over to this person. This person had access to everything.
I believe that. That's why I think he knew he had a problem, but not with his money.
Yeah. All right, you guys. Get your questions in for What I Need to Know. Any question, text it right now to the Mac and Jack's text line 866-979-3776.
Get the national perspective on the Mariners.
Swing and a miss and a slider, strike 3.
With Jeff Bassett, Tuesday mornings at 8:30.
The Mariners have arguably the best pitching staff in baseball. I think I'm probably taking the Mariners at the end of the day over every team in the American League right now.
And John Morosi, Thursdays at 5 p.m.
This is the team to beat in the division. And it's not just a hot take. That's what the numbers say, that they're the team to beat in the division.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Mariners.
Many homes throughout our area lack proper insulation in their attic and crawl space. Hi, this is Colin from Puget Sound Energy. At PSC, we want every home to be energy efficient, so we partnered with PSC recommended energy professionals like Crawl Pros to properly insulate attics and crawl spaces and bring them up to today's energy efficiency standards. If your home was built before 1990, you may be eligible for PSC rebates that cover up to 95% of your cost. Here's Richard Herron, the owner of Crawl Pros, for more information on how you can take advantage of these terrific rebates.
Thanks, Colin. These truly are the most aggressive utility rebates we've seen since Crawl Pros started working with PSE over a decade ago. Don't miss this opportunity to have PSE cover a large portion of your attic or crawl space insulation job. To take advantage of these programs, schedule your free estimate at crawlpros.com. We'll walk you through the rebate program your home qualifies for and get your attic or crawl space project scheduled immediately. That's crawlpros.com.
Tired of a boring backyard? State Roofing's expert team can help you create the perfect deck before summer hits. We'll make sure your deck is the envy of the neighborhood. Call State Roofing at 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com for a free estimate. That's stateroofing.com.
June is Men's Health Month, and Swedish Cyberknife is encouraging men to talk about their health with a medical professional, specifically their risk of prostate cancer. Hi, it's Dave Wyman. When detected early, prostate cancer has several treatment options. Swedish Cyberknife, located in Seattle, is one of the most effective options and requires only 5 short treatments, each lasting less than an hour. Go to swedish.org/cyberknifeprostate or give them a call, 206-320-7187. Treat prostate cancer with Swedish Cyberknife.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? I think my battery's dead. With free battery testing and charging, we can help you get back on the road.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
So what if I need a new one? We have the right Duralast battery for you, only at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
And what about my old battery? We can recycle it right here at America's #1 battery destination.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Hey, what are you doing up on the step stool?
About to clean these light fixtures. The whole family's coming over, and if there's even a speck of dust in the house, my abuela will find it.
Here, I got a Swiffer duster to help with that.
A Swiffer what?
A Swiffer duster. It has this cool extendable handle that reaches 6 feet to get high and low, with fluffy dusters that easily trap and lock dust.
So, no more step stool?
No more step stool.
Easily trap and lock dust from hard-to-reach places with the Swiffer duster. Love it or your money back.
Comedy fans, this one's for you. Seattle Sports has your chance to win 2 tickets to see comedic legend George Lopez. Friday, June 14th at Tacoma's Pantages Theater. Go to SeattleSports/win to enter. SeattleSports/win. Bonneville International radio station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contests are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on seattlesports.com or in person at the station during regular business hours.
For Down Territory, going inside the game with Michael Bumpus.
I like this. More quarterbacks should start doing this.
Every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bumpin' Stacy.
I'm Bradley Johnson with 1-800-DUI-AWAY, and I want to talk to you about baseball. It's game day. The stadium roof is open. Our club's putting up a fight. They're cold brews in hand. But outside, the police are getting ready to spot fans trying to steal their home base. Maybe the night threw you a curveball. An officer made an error. Or perhaps the bases weren't the only thing loaded. At 1-800-DUI-AWAY, we know it's not 3 strikes, it's 1 strike. And you're facing the Grand Slammer. 1-800-DUI-AWAY is here to help, even if we have to go into overtime. So call 1-800-DUI-AWAY or go to 1-800-DUI-AWAY.com to set up your free private consultation. When you're on defense, it's full count, bottom of the ninth. You want your closing pitcher on the mound. 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
1-800-DUI-AWAY. Access to quality health care is an important topic. So, let's talk about it. Optum Care Washington is here to make the health system work better for everyone by making quality primary and specialty care easier and more affordable. From Tacoma to Bellingham, you can see their top local doctors at more than 45 locations and get care on your schedule with innovative on-demand services. Learn about healthier care that's focused on you at Optum2024.com.
For generations, Shane Company has had a passion for gemstones. We've worked with the same diamond sources who reserve the best rough stones just for us. Once cut and polished, we take our time to handpick the best of the best. We're known for our rainbow of colors, 16 different shades of natural sapphires. At Shane Company, we truly obsess over cutting each stone to reveal its richest color and vibrancy. And we'll continue to source the most beautiful gemstones on earth so that you can always shine bright. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
It is What I Need to Know, brought to you by Cookies Country Chicken. Now, here's the deal with What I Need to Know. It can be sports questions or non-sports questions. The first is a non-sports question. I am so excited, not just to hear what you have to say, Bump, but to see if listeners have stories. What I need to know. I know it's early, but I'll be driving later. They sent this in earlier in the show. What's the craziest red flag you've seen in someone's relationship, and did you say anything?
Man, this one was tough. So I'm on my recruiting trips as a senior.
Okay.
And I happened to go on a recruiting trip where one of my buddies who's in, he's somewhere. I don't want to give too much information.
Okay.
And his girlfriend goes to that school, and she was hella friendly to some ball players. Disappeared into a room for about 15 minutes with a ball player, and I got home and we sat down. I was like, bruh, I don't know about this one, man. And he was in disbelief, but they broke up.
Okay, so he did believe you.
I had to tell the homie, though. There's no way.
To tell him.
There's no way I couldn't tell him.
No. That was the right thing to do. Let's see. Curtis, do you have one before I keep him?
No.
Okay.
I usually try to stay out of people's business, but if I saw something like bump saw. I've never had that happen to me. By the way.
I haven't
If I
either.
saw something like bump saw, I would absolutely have to say something.
A listener texted one in. They said, red flag of a friend's girlfriend. Same kind of situation. He met her on Tinder, and she was always staying at his place for days at a time, and would ask him to drop her off at a different place every time. She'd never truly answer where she lived or what she did for work. You can probably guess where this is going. Where do you think this is going?
She's either like
a secret
couch hopping, staying with friends, don't really have a place.
Good guess. Turns out she had multiple boyfriends that she would stay with at certain parts of the week. He was dropping her off at her other boyfriends' houses.
Whoa.
She had no job or home. I told him she seemed off early on, and he didn't listen to me, so I still tease him about it to this day.
Dang.
Whew. Okay, what? Yeah. What I need to know. This one is like a am I in the wrong moment, so husband and wife moment. He says, I sort of went a bit short for my wife's Mother's Day this year. Am I then wrong for hinting at a new set of clubs for the, quote, kids to get me for Father's Day?
Yeah.
Nah.
No?
What?
If it sticks, just throw it out there. If it sticks, she ain't got to do nothing. She ain't have to do it. She can remember, like, look, nah, kids, dad didn't hook mom up. We're not hooking him up. But you throw it out there. If it sticks, it sticks.
She's a wife bump. She'll never forget.
Exactly.
You know
exactly.
this trap.
It's not gonna stick, but you still shoot your shot.
Oh my God. Yes, I do think you're in the wrong. I guess it's more of, do you self-regulate or do you just throw it out there and see what happens?
You just throw it out there once.
See, I'm team self-regulate. You know that the lesson you've learned is what you really want for Father's Day, you now can't get because you weren't as generous for Mother's Day, and that's the lesson that you learned.
Mm-hmm.
So now you know that next year you get her something nicer, and here's the deal. If you get her something nice for Mother's Day next year, you really shell out, and she doesn't get you something nice for Father's Day when you ask for clubs.
Stacy, that happens every year. We always go all out for Mother's Day, and dads are like, oh, here's a 6-pack and a pass to go play golf. That's all you get.
And I have to pay for it. What I need to know, if you could endorse any product and get decent money for it, but you're more about the clout of endorsing the product, what would you choose? So I guess what a product that you would endorse. A product you'd endorse for free? Or for the clout of endorsing it? Are you telling us to say in front of our sales team listening what we would do for free?
Right.
The answer is pay me.
That sounds like it's a text coming from our sales team. That's what it sounds like.
What I need to know, if you could endorse a product
that you would get no money for.
What would it be?
Yeah.
Just the clout. Do it for the clout.
I'll endorse a product right now for clout just because I love these people. Old Crimson Beer. Go check it out. It's pretty good. It's on the streets.
Ooh.
It's that NIL beer.
Yeah.
It's that NIL beer, exactly.
What if it was something like endorsing like Rolex or something where you're like, I sound cool
Rolex.
endorsing
Heck,
this?
nah, Rolex, you better pay me. There's too much money in that.
What I need to know, is this the last season we see Brandon Ayuk in a Niners uniform?
No, because I think they're going to get rid of Debo. I think as good as Debo is, he's a more talented football player. You need a number one receiver, and that's what Brandon Ayuk is.
What I need to know, what would it take for me to play a round of golf with Bump?
It would take an off day without work or kids and doing all that stuff. And I'm gonna hook you boy up. You want to pay for the round? What's up? What's up?
Yeah.
DM me. Let's
we have
get it.
some responses to a couple of our questions from listeners.
All right.
425 says, my husband never gets me anything for Mother's Day unless I ask. It's lame, but I always take the high road and always do something nice for him for Father's Day.
That's bad for business, brother. It's bad for business.
Yeah, you gotta do something.
You gotta do something.
Yeah.
Well, and also, my advice to this listener is maybe for Father's Day, you don't do something.
Yeah, don't get him anything.
You know what I mean? Maybe you don't take the high road.
Is he trying to use the logic of like, you're not my mom, so I don't have to do anything for you? But like, she's the mother of your children, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Well, also, if she is always doing something for you, take a hint.
Yeah.
There is a reciprocal holiday.
Yes.
In which you can do something for her. What I need to know. Let's see. Oh, what was it that you asked for, that you texted in for your Father's Day gift?
What did I text in?
Yeah, or what did you ask for Father's
I don't ask for anything.
Mm.
I don't ask for anything.
Nice. Let's see. What I need to know. Dumb question. I was stuck in traffic. Going back to MLB, does MLB have something similar to NFL Red Zone? Baseball can be boring. Sometimes the M's are painful to watch, but across MLB, there's always some excitement. Hype it up, stress rivalries. I'd pay to have special access to teams blowing out the Astros. MLB will never be a juggernaut like the NFL, but it can find its niche.
You'd have to do that every day, though. That'd be tough.
Yeah,
I don't know if
that's
they have
the
anything
thing.
like that, though, Curtis, do they?
It's a good
MLB
question,
Network
really
does
good
kind of whip
question.
around coverage every now and then. I think there's a show on Apple TV that does it too. I don't quite know the name of it, but there isn't anything that, like Bump said, it would be every single day, which would be whoever's hosting that.
Yeah.
Tip of the cap to you, sir or ma'am.
Real.
That's
a lot
That's
of
hard
work.
work, yeah.
What I need to know, will the Mariners ever be top 5 in payroll?
No.
No. I just don't think market size. I think that you could be higher. You're the 12th biggest market.
Hey, just crack top 8.
That'd be cool.
Yep.
All right, you guys. Oh, how do you get a guy to be more focused and less focused on himself? Oh, that's her saying that he's always focused on himself, and so how do you?
We
get
don't
him
have the
to
time.
We don't truly don't have the time.
It's a red flag right
Look,
there.
here's our advice to you. Do not get him really nice stuff for Father's Day if he doesn't get you nice stuff for Mother's Day. That's our genuine advice. And if he asks about it, then you tell him, I feel like you're not reciprocating these gifts and it doesn't make me feel as loved.
Back in AIM days, send to receive.
All right, you guys, we aren't going anywhere, but we are going to the dugout. All Mariners 1-2.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
Dylan Moore. It feels like you're in that lineup every single night.
It's a testament to how I've been playing, and I think that with all the hard work that I put in, being a backstage character in this game for a while, to be able to step in, when JP was hurt and play well was really kind of a dream for me, and to be able to plug in and then play well, proves the point of all the hard work that you're putting in, and I'm really proud of what I'm doing. I just want to keep it going.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Hey, it's Dave Wyman with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD from Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Dr. Wagner is hosting a free stem cell webinar Tuesday, June 11th to explain stem cell therapy.
I'm really looking forward to this live webinar to educate on how using your own stem cells can be an extremely successful method to help regenerate native tissue in rotator cuffs, meniscus tears, and reduce pain in osteoarthritic joints.
And which joints have you seen good success with?
Shoulders, elbows, hips, knees, even wrists and ankles. And in this live webinar, we'll tell you all about the procedure, how simple and safe it is using your own stem cells, and how we determine if you're a candidate.
Dr. Wagner has performed over 20,000 stem cell procedures. Are you in pain? Join him Tuesday, June 11th at 6 p.m. for the free stem cell webinar and learn all about this amazing procedure. Register now at drmarkwagnermd.com. That's drmarkwagnermd.com.
Endless hours of research, seeking referrals, dozens of calls. Hiring the right attorney can be a challenging process during an already difficult time. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains.
In Washington State, Tom, there are thousands of attorneys to choose from. Referrals and online research can be helpful, but discovering the right attorney requires a conversation. It can be hard to identify integrity and authenticity without that interaction.
So, what do you recommend?
We encourage anyone looking for personal injury representation to call for a free consultation with our team before making a decision simply based on referrals or online research. Accident victims need an attorney that listens, demonstrates honesty, and is genuinely understanding of their unique circumstances. The care, attention, and preparation that our firm provides throughout the case mirrors the effort involved when taking on the insurance companies.
Save time and avoid mistakes after an injury. Contact the caring and compassionate team at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
Everyone wants to get the best deal they can when they buy a car. But what about when you want to sell your car? Of course, you want to get the most money possible, but how do you get the most you can without trying to sell it yourself? Well, that's where my friends at Wayscar Ford in Auburn step in. Not only will they buy your car today, but that's just the beginning. Once they resell your old car, they send you another check for 50% of the profit of the sale of your old car. They've already given back over $600,000 to their customers. Mark, GM of Wayscar Ford, joins me, and it's such a great offer. But to clear up any confusion, is this like a consignment, and how can you offer this?
It's not a consignment, Stacy. A consignment, the dealer that's trying to sell your car hasn't paid you yet. We pay you right up front. No more insurance, no more maintenance. All that's gone. After that's done, we pay you half the profit. It's that simple. There's no magic to this. All the money we're saving by not buying at auctions, the shipping fees and the travel, we're giving it back to you. That's how it works.
So get the most money possible at Wayscar Ford Isuzu in Auburn and let them do the work.
Mike Salk here for RiversideRoofingLLC.com, where you can enter your address and receive a hassle-free quick quote on your roof replacement within seconds. Do it this spring and save time, money, and get your project done at RiversideRoofingLLC.com, the roofing company you can trust.
It's a Cookies Country Chicken reminder. Dine in, call in, delivery, and cater in. That's right, we cater too. At Cookies, that's real good chicken. And tell them,
make it spicy.
Fresh fried chicken any way you like it. At Cookies, Ballard, Pioneer Square, cookiescountrychicken.com.
Are you constantly dealing with a runny nose, nasal congestion, or stuffiness? Always having to clear your throat or coughing? I'm Dr. Ryan Stern with the Stern Sinus Center. Rhine Air is a simple, non-invasive procedure that can significantly reduce your symptoms. This long-lasting treatment is available here in my office. In a clinical study, 88% of Rhine Air patients experience a significant reduction in their symptoms. We're proud the Stern Sinus Center was recently named a nationwide center of excellence. Schedule your appointment in Auburn or Federal Way or go to sternsinus.com.
Saving for retirement was tough enough for us.
Yes, and navigating markets can be challenging at times.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we take a disciplined approach with your investments.
Tell us more about that.
We take an active approach to money management, positioning your portfolio for opportunities we see ahead.
So all your clients get the same portfolio?
No, we tailor your portfolio to your individual goals and needs.
What about communication? We don't like being left in the dark.
We check in regularly to keep you informed on the markets and your portfolio.
Which means you'll help us stay on track.
Yes, our goal is your comfortable retirement. And as a fiduciary, we always put your interests first, because we do better when you do better. At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Another betting scandal in baseball. This one with Padres infielder Tucupita Marcano. He's been permanently banned from Major League Baseball for betting on the sport, including for the Pittsburgh Pirates, whom he played with last season. Between July and November, he placed 387 bets, totaling more than $150,000. The Seattle Mariners are coming off of a series sweep against the Angels, and they're about to start a game against the Oakland A's tonight at 6:40 p.m. You got George Kirby on the mound.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This is The Dugout, every Tuesday at 1 with Bump and Stacy. Inside access to the clubhouse from Shannon Dreyer on Seattle Sports, the home of the Mariners.
Mariners insider Shannon Dreyer joins us now from Oakland on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Hey, Shannon, how's it going?
It's going. It's bright and sunny and beautiful here today.
Fantastic. Mariners coming off a sweep. I'm hoping they can sweep the A's. That though, is getting pretty greedy, I think. The A's have been kind of a weird team this year, a team that we thought would be very bad, and they've had some moments. How do you see this team? Are they a tricky one?
We're looking at what the Angels are right now, and you're following them up with the A's, and they're very similar in record, but I think kind of the difference between the two is the Angels are kind of aimless in what they're doing right now, and almost, it's just, hey, you need a spot on a roster, there's probably one in Anaheim for you. You can go there. A lot of that going on with that roster. The A's actually have a little bit of young talent on their team. So I think that's why you see more of the ups and downs rather than just the spiral from them. So they at any time can hit a little bit. They at any time can pitch a little bit, and you know what they have at the end of the bullpen. So they can be a little bit more of a handful than Anaheim.
Shannon, when you look at the Mariners squad and what they've been able to do with the last 8 games, they've won 7. Is it as simple as them taking advantage of matchups, or do you see improvement in other areas?
That's a really good question. I think some of it is pitching. On the last road trip, the bullpen was horrific, and they've been pretty good on the most recent homestand. So I think some of it goes to that. I think that you have seen some bats come around. I know Ty France's bat has been coming around for the better part of a month right now, but he was of real impact in that series at home, and I think you're starting to feel better about where he's at. So I think that that helps as well. But then, I mean, there's no denying that they did what they were supposed to do against the Angels, which was good to see. You had a couple of better starting pitching performances. You didn't have the big hiccups that you had before. So I think it was just kind of a little bit of a better streak for them against a team that they should beat.
We're talking with Mariners reliever Mike Bowman coming up at 1:45. This bullpen's been really interesting. I had concerns about them with Matt Brasher, with Santos. Obviously, Brash done for the season, which is devastating. And they've managed to hang in there. And even then, Shannon, I've been worried about innings usage with Munoz. What to you is maybe a concern, and what to you is a point where you kind of tip your hat with the bullpen and go, God, they've done this so well?
Well, I do tip my hat that they did turn it around. I mean, they had like an ERA of 7 on the road trip, and it was just kind of people falling apart left, right, and everywhere else. And, you know, they're entitled to that, but they are thin at back of the bullpen depth. You know, it's Andres Munoz is your leverage guy right now. That is about what they have. So it is important to protect him. And I do think that on the homestand and going into the homestand, I think that Scott was able to get him some days and do a really good job with that. I think that he is a little better off now than he was a couple of weeks ago when they were just kind of using him over and over, it felt like, and he's getting more adjusted to it. So I think that that is a big positive. I think that, you know, the Andres Munoz now is a lot more comfortable than the Andres Munoz 3 weeks ago was. And he's, you know, changed some things up and how he gets ready for his appearances, changed his mentality a little bit, and I think the confidence is a little bit higher. It's one thing to do what he does when there are two others around him who can do somewhat similar things. It's another when he is the guy, and that took some adjustment, but I feel a lot better about where he's at right now. And Mike Baumann has got some good stuff. He's got some good track record, and I think it was on your story where, you know, on your show where the story was told how the hitters came to the Mariners when they heard he was available to go get him. This guy's nasty. And so I think that he is somebody that is getting acclimated pretty quickly to what the Mariners do, what they've asked him to do, which is not much. It's just, hey, you know, throw your good stuff a little bit more, throw strikes, you'll be good. And I think that that is going to help. It does hurt that they've lost Gabe Spire for a little bit. And you really hope that the time on the IL will help him get back to where he was, and that perhaps something was going on there. And that's why he was having some of the struggles that he was having. So, you know, assuming that you do get Gabe back, and that's what we've been hearing, it should be a few weeks, I think that's going to be a boost. Santos, it looks like he's taking bigger steps while he's working out with the Mariners than he was in Arizona. You know, that's no guarantee until he gets back up in a big league game, but that will be something good. And, you know, they're kind of holding it together until they get some reinforcements there. But I fully expect them to add somebody at the deadline.
Shannon, Stanton spoke and mentioned that he believes that this team could hit. And I saw that quote and I go, yeah, they can hit, but they're sporadic when they do hit. This last series, you got just in the Angel series, you got a couple guys over 300, a couple guys over 1,000 OPS. Do you think this is a team that could hit their way to a division championship, or do you think that something needs to be done at the trade deadline?
Oh, I think you'd have, if you have the opportunity to add offense, by all means, add offense. You know, I think that goes without saying. I don't think they need as much offense as other teams do because of the pitching that they have, but it's just, you know, it's been too long a stretch to see them not be able to put runs together. And I think you have to remember that the offense that they are built on, or what they're supposed to be, is a team offense rather than here's a couple of superstars here and there. If anybody gets on, they're going to put some numbers up. So I think it is important that they kind of find who they are as a team offense. But I think that, you know, shy of any of the additions that they got in the off season, really coming through and like having career numbers in the next few weeks, they're going to need some more.
Have you been surprised to see some of those additions not meet expectation or not look quite like they did last season?
Yes, I mean, to the extent that they have, it is not uncommon for an established player to go to a new team and for it to take a little while. There's a lot of adjustment that goes on, like within the clubhouse, within the training room, within their own team, and off the field, particularly if they have a family. And that can take a little bit of time to get adjusted, but we're kind of past that right now. So I think the stunning thing for me was that it was pretty much all of them. And you know, you need to, and they're all established, so you need to kind of break through in that and get a little bit more. You take a look at Polanco, and it's spring training, and that's why you never put too much into it. But he was probably the first in the entire team to kind of click in with his swing, look good with his timing, and be consistent throughout the spring, particularly from the left side. And nothing has translated to the regular season. You know, that to me is a surprise that it has fallen off as far as it has fallen. For Mitch Garver really not to, you know, he had his last game out was good. He had a pretty decent homestand. You hope that that's there. You know, it's you expect to see more. I think there's no question about that. Mitch Haniger is a guy that has been streaky, so I'm not too surprised if he has some ups and some downs. But it has taken him a little bit more time to kind of get off of the down that he is on. We're seeing some good swings right now. We're seeing him put the ball in play, and we're seeing him come through in a couple of big spots in the last week too. But you want to see, of course, a little bit more consistency there. I mean, that's a big piece of your offense right now. And you know, my surprise is that it was all three of them.
Shannon, you still see the Rangers as the biggest threat to the Mariners right now, or are you still keeping an eye out on the Astros and seeing how they end up doing?
I think you always have to keep an eye on the Astros, particularly with what they did last year. You know, they made the charge. They got there at the end, and then we had the craziness of the three teams, a game and a half of each other in the last week. And I think they're capable of that. But if you were to ask me who my bigger concern was, it is probably the Rangers at this point, because I think the Rangers can get more help between now and the end of the season. The Astros pitching is absolutely falling apart on them, and you can only add so much. The Rangers pitching, they've had terrible problems with the bullpen, and they were able to do just enough, or they got hot at the right time last year to be able to, get into the postseason and make the run and win the World Series. But, you know, as long as their offense stands up and they get some of what they have on the IL back in pitching, at the deadline it is always easier to add pitching than it is offense. So they, for me, look like a big threat, and I think the more distance you can put on them and take advantage of the schedule that the Mariners have right now, I think that only helps their case.
She is Mariners insider Shannon Drayer, kind enough to join us on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. This is The Dugout. Thanks so much, Shannon.
Thanks, Shannon.
You got it, guys.
Make sure you check out the latest from Shannon on SeattleSports.com. If you already have the Seattle Sports app, you can just click the little news icon in the bottom, and you can see the latest articles from not just Shannon, but from all of our hosts and reporters. Great stuff there. You can also listen to us live and watch the video stream. Jeff Passan was on with Brock and Salk this morning. He talked about some potential trade partners. I know you guys are interested in hearing those. He also talked about why the Mariners have a grade A farm system right now. And look, as fun as it is to be in first place and as maddening as it is to see this offense at times, it's kind of nice that there's something when it comes to this team that we aren't paying nearly enough attention to, and it's all good news. That's coming up next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk.
Jeff Passan.
All I'm doing with Ryan Wu at this point is appreciating what I do get to see. And it's fun watching him pitch, man.
Weekdays 6 to 10.
It's fun watching all of them pitch. This is such a fun team to watch because they're so freaking good at throwing the baseball. And every one of the Mariners pitchers in the rotation does so exceptionally. It is a fun time to watch this baseball team.
Hear the rest of this interview on demand at SeattleSports.com and on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
Hey, it's Dave Wyman with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD from Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Dr. Wagner is hosting a free stem cell webinar Tuesday, June 11th to explain stem cell therapy.
I'm really looking forward to this live webinar to educate on how using your own stem cells can be an extremely successful method to help regenerate native tissue in rotator cuffs, meniscus tears, and reduce pain in osteoarthritic joints.
And which joints have you seen good success with?
Shoulders, elbows, hips, knees, even wrists and ankles. And in this live webinar, we'll tell you all about the procedure, how simple and safe it is using your own stem cells, and how we determine if you're a candidate.
Dr. Wagner has performed over 20,000 stem cell procedures. Are you in pain? Join him Tuesday, June 11th at 6 p.m. for the free stem cell webinar and learn all about this amazing procedure. Register now at drmarkwagnermd.com. That's drmarkwagnermd.com.
You want more speed? Well, you're in luck because Xfinity just increased their internet speeds and they are faster than ever. Plus, with super fast internet and that reliable connection, you can do more of what you love whenever you want. So that means more gaming. So when my son Titus has his entire baseball team over and they're all gaming, no problem. That means more downloading, more video chatting our kids from away. And for the wife and I, yeah, maybe that means more nights on the couch streaming our favorite movies and TV shows every single night. It's time to get more out of your internet with faster speeds from Xfinity. And now through June 21st, get 150 megabit Xfinity internet for only $19.99 a month for 12 months with a 1-year contract. That's double the speed for the same great price. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or go visit that Xfinity store today. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment taxes and other charges extra after promo. Regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary and not guaranteed. Make the call to 1-800-XFINITY.
Paid for by government.com. Have you heard? A recent stash of 1902 Morgan silver dollar coins has been found. These gorgeous 1902 silver dollar coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck, and less than 300 of these Morgan silver dollars are available. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone interested in silver coins. Just call government at 1-800-806-1641, and you are guaranteed a mint condition 1902 Morgan silver dollar featuring the iconic old mint mark of the New Orleans Mint, but with limited quantity. You must call now. These 1902 silver coins are still in uncirculated condition. That is 122 years of history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-806-1641. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $25 value free with every order. Call 1-800-806-1641 now to secure your 1902 Morgan silver dollars before they sell out. That's 1-800-806-1641.
You're listening to The Dugout every Tuesday at 1 with Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports, the home of the Mariners.
Jeff Passan was on with Brock and Salk this morning. Really interesting stuff to say about Mariners trade partners, as well as a farm system that is absolutely amazing. We're not talking about it enough because, well, we have a major league team to talk about that's in a playoff race and leading the AL West. But there's some stuff here about it, and we really want to get to it. We're going to start, though, with Jeff Passan talking about the trade deadline. Here's what he had to write for ESPN.com about his trade deadline preview. Bump, he said, you're going to like this, the Mariners are in go mode. They don't want to waste another season of their exceptional starting pitching, and they've got the goods to do it too. No organization outside of Baltimore, perhaps Tampa Bay, possesses the array of position player prospects Seattle does, and the Mariners will be on the hunt for impact bats to supplement a group of major league hitters that has been so bad the team fired its offensive coordinator less than 60 games into the season. He mentions Luis Robert, Pete Alonso, obviously Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Bo Bichette, who could be in play for the Mariners if they're available. The question is whether or not you, Bump, would be willing to part ways with some of these young bats in your farm system to add a bat now.
Yes. Yes.
Next.
Right now. Do it. Make the deal. Let's go. No hezzy. No pump fake. Straightforward.
Here's what Jeff Passan had to say about that farm system.
The Mariner system is so good that if you're the Astros, you think about making a trade in division. I know you're probably not going to, but you think about it because it potentially weakens this team for the future and it can strengthen yours. The Rays, really interesting. Randy Arozarena, Pete Fairbanks, and Jason Adam, and Garrett Clevenger. If Santos doesn't come back and if they feel like they need something in the bullpen. The Tigers are very interesting.
Here's what that prospect ranking looks like. Number 1 prospect in your system, Cole Young, shortstop, second baseman, infielder Cole Young. You've got Harry Ford, who you all know already as a catcher, though he can play elsewhere. Colt Emerson, Lazaro Montes, and Felnin Celestin. These are your top 5 prospects. None of them are arms. Lo and behold, we've got suddenly a very different looking farm system for Seattle. Bump, I think it's natural for people to go, well, wait a minute, but I want my homegrown talent because you get more years of arbitration and you don't have to pay so much and you don't have to whatever. Here's the deal, though. These guys, none of them are on AAA. Felnin is a rookie. You got high A for Colt. and Lazaro, and you've got AA for Cole Young and Harry Ford. These aren't guys that you're going to be able to pit on this roster right now when your pitching's at its best. You don't want to wait until you might not have Logan or George, or until some of your other guys get a little bit older, or maybe they aren't as healthy, for you to be like, look, we've got these young guys debuting now. And then you got to count that they're going to be great.
Yeah, you can't have both. You can't have a bunch of talent in the farm system and then be like, well, I want to keep those, but I also want to get better with the guys who are in the bigs right now. Is there a way we can do that without giving up anything? That's just not how this works.
Yeah, can I give you my trash for your treasure?
Exactly. So this is what you have to do. This is the cost of business. You have to take some risk. And I think the last time they depleted the farm system, you went and got Castillo, and look how it worked out for you, because you knew what you're going to get out of Castillo. They think they know what they're going to get out of some of these smaller acquisitions, and for the most part, it hasn't panned out quite yet. So I'm all for this, man. I understand wanting to keep your guys here. You got more control over the situation. But if the Mariners are really in go mode, as Passon said right there, you got to do some things, man.
Well, and it's why you have a farm system. The plan isn't to debut all of these guys and keep them with your club. The plan is that some of them are going to be in a logjam at a certain positional group, or maybe a prospect that you think you can wheel and deal and make a move to add to your club. The plan is also to win this year. You are in first place in a division that is uncharacteristically weak right now. These are two clubs that were in the ALCS last season with the Astros and Rangers. The Rangers were World Series winners, and both are behind you because the pitching is horrible or they have injuries. Take advantage of that.
Yeah, there's a man, we've been talking about this window of opportunity for about 2 years now. With the lead that you have in your division, I think this is as realistic as it gets. So you got to do it. It'd be so diabolical if the Astros were to make an in-division trade just to deplete this team for the next couple of years. I mean, I get it, and I would entertain it, but that's some stuff right there, man. You're playing chess, not checkers. You look at every possible situation that does not involve getting rid of your arms at this point. And like you pointed out, those aren't arms. Those are guys who are going to play other positions. So, yeah, you got to look at it. Young talent is the hardest thing to deal with in sports, because it's all potential. They'll show you a little bit and you say, okay, are we gonna do we want that twinkle in his eye later on for us, or are we gonna use that as trade leverage for right now? Somebody's gotta go, and this is just the business. So you can't have everything. Go ahead and make a move.
So who are some potential bats or relievers for the Mariners in trades?
Mark Canha's not a sexy name. Mark Canha's going to get on base 35% of the time and play good defense. He's going to get you a big knock every now and again, and it's not going to cost all that much. But Canha plus, Jason Foley or Alex Lang or Will Vest or Alex Fado, like somebody in the bullpen, there's a possibility there. And then, if Tyler O'Neill is healthy, Tyler O'Neill would be an awfully nice fit with the Mariners. If you can add a reliever, maybe Kenley Jansen, maybe Chris Martin, maybe you go and get Nick Pivetta to be a swing guy. I mean, these tweener teams are going to be everything. It's just, frankly, it's too early to see which one of them are going to be selling when it's time, but at least one of them are going to. And when they do, the Mariners are going to need to be in there.
Tyler O'Neill with Boston this year, 11 home runs with a Red Sox club that is really, competitive, but you're still struggling in a really, really tough AL East.
Yeah, he lost me at possible reliever. Nah, I'm good on that. Passing, I get you. Ball, all right? You're not a Macondo who hit on 4% of his bets. What's his name?
Oh, what is it? Tucupita Marcano. I like Macondo.
Yeah.
I like just butchering it every time. Just hit on 5%, we'll talk.
He's not him. Passon knows what he's talking about, but I'm looking at this squad and I go, no, it's all bats.
Yeah, exactly.
No relievers, the bullpen. We'll work it out. Playoff comes, you need 3 guys in that rotation. I mean, it's just let's stay focused on the situation. So when you bring up names like O'Neill, yes, I'm intrigued.
What do you think about a bat that would be a rental? Because the 360 points out, and hey, at least Castillo wasn't a rental, and then they did like a flexing emoji, which is really cool. And you're absolutely right. Like, you got a long-term starter for you. You got your ace, and I say this in a rotation that could have aces at from a number of other guys. Kirby could be your ace. Logan could be an ace. What do you feel about trading for a bat that becomes a free agent next year?
One of the best times I ever had in California was when I got my first game check. We had a bye week. I flew out to Cali, and I rented a Mercedes-Benz, and it was the best weekend I had in my life. I knew I only had it for a little bit, but the looks I got and the feeling I had driving that thing for a weekend was amazing. Go get you a rental. Sometimes you just got to do it. Sometimes you just got to do it. And people are afraid. It's almost like, because we get everything from the text line. We get people who are saying, go rent it back. Don't rent it back. Get an arm. Don't get an arm. You're never going to be able to satisfy everyone. And if I feel like you're taking a chance, and I hope other people feel this way, I'm sure they do, not the majority, whoever. If I just feel like this team is taking a chance and going all in and saying, we got a chance right here to do something big, let's go do it, I'm okay with not failure, but I'll accept it because I felt like you gave your team and those guys who run out there every single day a real opportunity to win and the fans a chance to believe. That's where I'm at right now. There is talent on this team, but you got to rent that Benz sometimes.
Speaking of renting the Benz, there's a fear that you might trade away a star in doing so, and then the guy that you bring in, the rental, doesn't end up staying there. Jeff Passan talks about that fear and trading away prospects.
It's just, what you fear is trading a star, right? And there's the possibility that they might do that. But is it worth it for what you're doing it in service of? At this point, when you have this much depth and when you have this kind of pitching, I would say yes.
Is it worth it in doing it when you have this pitching? Yes. You know why? Because this is World Series pitching. Because if I were to choose as a baseball fan, if I were a GM, no one should hire me. One thing that I would like as a team, it would be elite pitching. Give me at least two guys that can get me through a World Series. You know how the Rangers were able to get to and win a World Series? Because their top two pitchers decided to look like amazing aces for the majority of those games. Not every single one. But like Jordan Montgomery was absolutely solid. Like they had guys that suddenly stepped up and they didn't have to dip into a horrendous bullpen. Obviously, they had an amazing offense. I'm simplifying it. I understand that. But I'm simplifying it for this reason. You have one half of the equation. Can you get the other? Right.
It's PEMDAS, Parentheses, asterisks, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction.
Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally.
There you go. That's what it is. You just got to find the right formula, the right equation, and just hope that it hits. But nothing is guaranteed, especially if you're dealing with a payroll that isn't in the top 10, not in the top 8. That's why those teams have their odds are in their favor because they spend financially. They make sure they have that. So at this point, that's how you try to keep up with these guys is you make you roll the dice on July 30th.
Yeah. Well, let's ask Mariners reliever Mike Baumann which prospect he'd be willing to trade. I'm just kidding. we're not gonna ask him that. We do have lots of really fun questions to ask him, though, coming up at 45 after. Mariners broadcaster Gary Hill joins us. In the meantime, don't go anywhere.
Seattle Sports is your exclusive home for Mariners baseball.
Leaps up and he makes the catch.
Every strikeout.
Swing and a miss. Ryan Wu says, can you touch this? And he just overpowers Aaron Judge.
Every home run.
It's going back. Go on a grand slam with J.P. Crawford.
Every Mariners win.
A 2-2 on the way. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. And the ball game is over.
Stream every game at SeattleSports.com or on the Seattle Sports app. We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Mariners.
Hey, Brock Heward here, and I have had my share of sports injuries, and I know a little bit about pain. Well, that's what football will do to you from head to toe. But you don't have to play professional sports to know what I'm talking about. Painful joints from arthritis can affect anyone and make it hard to do pretty much anything. Well, that's where my friend, Dr. Daniel Nelson from Eastside Pain and Regenerative Medicine comes into play. He has seen so many patients through the years suffering from chronic joint pain caused by arthritis. So don't let pain stop you from your quality of life. Don't let pain stop you from enjoying life. Consider Dr. Nelson the only doctor with over 30 years of experience in pain medicine techniques, including stem cell therapy. It's a non-surgical solution to pain using your own stem cells. That's right, your own stem cells and platelet-rich plasma to harness your own body's healing potential. Consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Daniel Nelson, MD at 425-823-4000 or visit danielnelsonmd.com. That's danielnelsonmd.com.
I call myself a confident backseat driver. Mom, brakes, please.
Gotcha.
but I'm less confident in the economy.
Same here, buddy.
Thankfully, Les Schwab Tires helps make sure that our safety never takes a backseat, even when we're watching our wallets.
Roll into summer. Save up to $200 instantly on a wide selection of tires and wheels. Les Schwab Tires. Limited time offer. Terms and conditions apply. Details at leschwab.com/sale.
Hey everybody, Bob Stelton here. I recently met with Anthony, the owner of Asset Roofing, to talk about a metal roof which can last twice as long as ordinary shingles. Asset Roofing is seeing a huge push in the market for metal roofing. They create each metal roof at their headquarters, custom to each job, and that allows them to offer metal roofs with up to a 30% discount over their competitors. Check them out at assetroofingco.com.
Certified work that's never in doubt. Asset Roofing, excellence is on the house.
Access to quality healthcare is an important topic. So, let's talk about it. Optum Care Washington is here to make the health system work better for everyone by making quality primary and specialty care easier and more affordable. From Tacoma to Bellingham, you can see their top local doctors at more than 45 locations and get care on your schedule with innovative on-demand services. Learn about healthier care that's focused on you at Optum2024.com.
Are you still using allergy pills and sprays to treat your allergy attacks? I'm Dr. Ryan Stern with the Stern Sinus Center. Nasal congestion, sneezing, runny nose, snoring, facial pain are just a few of the sinus symptoms we can help you out with. From allergy workups and treatments to modern nasal breathing procedures to advanced outpatient balloon sinuplasty, we can diagnose and treat your problems. Let us help you get relief easily, quickly, and permanently. Find us in Federal Way or Auburn or at sternsinus.com. That's sternsinus.com.
And now, the pitchers for your Seattle Mariners.
No. Our guys don't pitch, they deal. Their stuff is so nasty, it turns the Mariners into the swing if you dariners.
Strikeout number 10 on the night for Luis. Holy smokes.
And so filthy, it's unfairness.
An absolutely ridiculous slider. It's the 12th strikeout tonight for Logan Gilbert.
They're a batter's worst nightmariners.
The heater at 100. Back-to-back strikeouts for Andres Munoz.
So no matter who's got the ball, you're out of there, inners.
Swing and a miss, and the ball game's over.
Mariners baseball. Trident's up.
The next Mariners homestand gets started on Monday, June 10th with a 4-game series against the White Sox. All 4 matchups are Mariners value games, which means you can score tickets starting at just $10. Go to mariners.com/value games to lock in your seats and check out the complete Mariners value game schedule this summer at T-Mobile Park.
You're listening to The Dugout every Tuesday at 1 with Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports, the home of the Mariners.
Joining us now in the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline, sticking with the Mariners conversation, of course, with Mariners broadcaster Gary Hill. Gary, how's it going?
Oh, it's going great. How are you doing?
Fantastic. I am so excited for a couple series here. Obviously, we'll take Kansas City out of the equation, but against the White Sox, against Oakland, and obviously in the past against the Angels, where the Mariners offense has a chance to kind of get right. And that feels disrespectful to these teams. And by no means do I mean that, but I also think that this is a tight division. And Gary, it feels like something I know you guys are talking about is an opportunity that lies here in kind of a soft spot in the schedule.
Yeah, no disrespect taken. I think it's fine to say what is plainly there, that those aren't very good teams. And so this is a chance for the Mariners to take advantage. And so far, so good. Like, that Angels series was great. They did exactly what you were hoping for. In fact, that homestand coupled with the Astros series was excellent. That couldn't have been better, the results. So that was fantastic. And then coming after that, Texas series is pretty pivotal. If you can, the way I look at it, it's really hard to ask for sweeps, so I never do that because that's a tough thing to do, especially on the road. But, man, take a series against the White Sox, 3-1. Take a series from the A's, 5-2, and depending on what happens against Kansas City, you put yourself in pretty premium position with the Texas Rangers rolling in. And, it's funny, we've been so accustomed to the Mariners chasing the Astros and chasing the Rangers, and these series become like, okay, you got to get 2 or 3 here to get a game back. But now the Mariners, it's a completely different position to be in right now, where if you take a series against the Rangers, that really dings them. They're looking to take a game from you. So it's a much more pleasant place to be right now. That's for sure.
Gary, how you doing? Go Cougs.
Go Cougs. Doing great.
What do you make of the new acquisition? What's the young man's name? Victor. I'm a blank. Robles.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. What do you make of the acquisition? Stacey and I were kind of like, all right, we'll see what happens. You look at his numbers. You're not overwhelmed by them, but what do you think the thinking is behind this?
Yeah, I think at the very least, it's a great replacement for the Jonathan Clase role. Clase is 21, and you want him to play every day. And with his role on the team right now, that wasn't going to happen. Robles is a veteran. He's been around. He's a guy that can slide right in with a similar skill set that, hey, if he doesn't start 5 games in a row, that's fine. You didn't feel that way about Clase because Robles is a guy, he's got a lot of talent. If you need a pinch runner late in the ballgame, he can fly. If you need a defensive replacement, he's it. He's been a really good defender, a really good center fielder, so he can play all over the place. So he's a guy I think we'll see a lot late in games. And he's right-handed hitter, so I think he'll get some starts in the outfield against lefties too. So he fits that exact role, but he's a veteran doing it. And I'm just curious what the bat looks like. It's been a struggle for him the last couple of years. He popped in 19, had a really good year. He's ultra talented. He's always been thought of very highly, a high draft pick. So, hey, maybe there's something there more offensively. But at the very least, I think he can be very useful off the bench in that kind of pinch-running defensive role.
Gonna take the idea of maybe there's something there more offensively and kind of stretch it to this entire lineup. Really interesting group where you do look at them on paper and you go, yeah, I would have expected them to be a little bit better. Maybe not a top 10 offense, but there's more here than what we've seen. Is there not, Gary?
I agree. I think there is more here. In fact, Mitch Haniger was alluding to this the other day, that it's so wild when you look at it, with the exception of probably Rojas, probably Dylan Moore, Cal at times, like most, and Luke Raley, I think, to be fair. But a lot of the other group have not lived up to what your baseball card would expect it. So I think there's a lot of room to grow, actually, even when maybe some of those other guys cool off a little bit. That core group in the middle, they haven't hit their stride at all. And I think we're still waiting for Julio to hit the power surge, to go on a real binge there. Cal heating up again, power-wise, would be great. But I do think there's a lot of room to grow offensively, and there's a lot more there. And I think you make the right point, too. Like this, given what we've seen pitching-wise, this offense doesn't need to be the best offense in baseball, even a top 5 offense in baseball. Like, seriously, if they consistently score 4 runs a game, they're going to win a lot. I mean, they're going to win on most nights, given what the pitching is doing. A little more than 4 once in a while would be nice, but seriously, 4 is like, that's it. That's the goal. You're going to win on most nights. What's
the your biggest concern with this team? Is it still the same? I think people always look at the rate at which they're striking out, over 600, I believe, leads the league. Is that still your biggest concern, or is there something else you're looking at?
There's a couple things I'm looking at. The obvious answer is offensively. They need to be better offensively. That's kind of, I think everyone would have that first answer. And not so much the strikeouts for me is the production was my concern. Because I can live with strikeouts if you're slugging, if you're doubles, homers, that kind of thing. But for a lot of the season, they had neither going, which is a problem. That's when the strikeouts really become a problem, when you're also not producing. And it's been better lately, so hopefully we'll see more of that. And the other issue that I think they're still trying to sort out is, hey, Munoz has been amazing. He has been all-star quality at the back end. Unfortunately, we haven't seen Brash. We're not going to see Brash. We haven't seen Santos, and now Spires on the IL. Those were 3 of your top 4. Those are your back-end guys. And I think they're still sifting through what the 7th and 8th innings look like in getting the ball to Munoz. And, especially in tight ball games. We've seen Salcedo back, certainly helpful from the left side. Maybe Bauman can certainly help in that. We've seen Thornton and Stanek's been better as of late. But that's a situation I think bears watching because, as we know, the Mariners play a lot of close games, a lot of one-run games. And so they're going to be in tight games in the 7th and the 8th. How consistent can that group be to get the ball to Munoz? Because They do have an advantage because the starters seemingly go 6 every single day, which I know we've all gotten used to, but it's not a reality for most baseball teams. But for this one, it is. It's that 7th and 8th inning that bears watching for me. So that is something along with the offense that I'm watching moving forward.
All right, well, let's talk about what we're watching for on like a micro scale. What are you watching for in these 3 games against Oakland here?
I'm watching the Oakland Coliseum for one of the last times we'll be there, which is, I think, sad for Oakland A's fans. But, this is a series that you really want to get. This is an A's team. I call them pesky, I think is a fair word. They've been hurt by injury, especially in the rotation. So I feel like, especially with the way the Mariners are pitching, this is a team they can really take advantage of. And, again, I'm not going to ask for a sweep, but this is one that you want to see the same kind of things that you saw against the Angels, right? You want to see the pitching be excellent, and you'd love to see the offense continue to get on a little bit of a roll. To your point earlier, like this is a time to get healthy offensively. It feels like you got a little momentum from the Angels, and if you can continue this forward in the A's and Royals and then into the White Sox as well, this is a time to start, I think, feeling good about yourself offensively. So I would like to see a lot of runs in Oakland.
I agree. I want to see Ryan Bliss too. That's my fan favorite.
You guys are birthday twins.
That's my underdog. Yeah, and we have the same birthday, so we're related pretty much.
He's fun. He's a fun player. I really enjoy what we've seen so far, and I know the numbers don't jump out, but I've been impressed by the plate appearances, and he's drawn some pretty key walks. And with the rule changes, running is more part of the game. The Mariners haven't necessarily had a roster to take advantage of that, but Bliss is a guy that can take advantage of that, and we saw him cause some real problems on the bases. So I'm intrigued by what we've seen so far. I think it's been fun.
All right. He is Mariners broadcaster Gary Hill, kind enough to join us on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook hotline for the Dugout. Thanks so much, Gary.
Thanks, Garrett.
Yeah, this was fun. Anytime.
All right, just taking a final 30 seconds here. Bump, what are you watching for in this series? I know you said Ryan Bliss. You watching for is one hit in this series enough? That has to be enough.
Yeah, give me one.
Just
and
one.
Just take care of the A's, man. I'm gonna ask for a sweep. I know Gary's more logical than I am. He's watched way more baseball than I have. He understands how hard it is, but I'm a dreamer. Let's go get a sweep.
I'm gonna demand a sweep. No, I'm not demanding anything, but it would be pretty nice. Again, that series starts tonight. George Kirby on the mound against Mitch Spence. First pitch is going to be at 6:40 p.m. at Oco. One of the, like Gary said, final times we're going to be watching these two teams in the Oakland Coliseum. Coming up next, Mariners reliever Mike Bowman joins us for the Dugout. Don't go anywhere.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk.
Jeff Passan?
All I'm doing with Ryan Wu at this point is appreciating what I do get to see. And it's fun watching him pitch, man.
Weekdays 6 to 10.
It's fun watching all of them pitch. This is such a fun team to watch because they're so freaking good at throwing the baseball. And every one of the Mariners pitchers in the rotation does so exceptionally. It is a fun time to watch this baseball team.
Hear the rest of this interview on demand at seattlesports.com and on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
Are you constantly dealing with a runny nose, nasal congestion, or stuffiness? Always having to clear your throat or coughing? I'm Dr. Ryan Stern with the Stern Sinus Center. Rhine Air is a simple, non-invasive procedure that can significantly reduce your symptoms. This long-lasting treatment is available here in my office. In a clinical study, 88% of Rhine Air patients experience a significant reduction in their symptoms. We're proud the Stern Sinus Center was recently named a nationwide center of excellence. Schedule your appointment in Auburn or Federal Way or go to sternsinus.com.
Overburdened with a bunch of stuff you don't want anymore, but feel bad throwing it away? John here with Happy Hauler, Seattle's eco-friendly junk removal. We prioritize donating and recycling. We'll help get your items to those in need instead of going to the landfill. At Happy Hauler, we pride ourselves on responsibility, community, and sustainability. We're a family-run small business that provides junk removal, donations, and recycling. Make yourself, your community, and the planet happy. It's time to reclaim your space. HappyHauler.com, hauling with a heart.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
The IRS deadline has come and gone. So do you owe money to the IRS? If so, you need an ally. Whether you owe the IRS $6,000 or $600,000, whether your tax problems are personal or business, the professionals at Allies Tax Relief are ready to step in and negotiate your fresh start with the IRS. Here's a happy customer of Allies Tax Relief.
Before calling Allies Tax Relief, I feared the IRS would take all of my assets. I owed them over $562,000. Thankfully, I was referred to Allies and called them for help. They ultimately saved my life from uncertainty. Allies negotiated my giant tax debt to an unbelievable $1,500. They are professionals and they fight the fight for their clients.
Allies Tax Relief will protect your assets from being seized and your paycheck from being garnished. Call right now for your free consultation. 800-296-0772. That's 800-296-0772. Or visit AlliesTaxRelief.com.
Hey, it's Dave Wyman with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, from Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Dr. Wagner is hosting a free stem cell webinar Tuesday, June 11th to explain stem cell therapy.
I'm really looking forward to this live webinar to educate on how using your own stem cells can be an extremely successful method to help regenerate native tissue in rotator cuffs, meniscus tears, and reduce pain in osteoarthritic joints.
And which joints have you seen good success with?
Shoulders, elbows, hips, knees, even wrists and ankles. And in this live webinar, we'll tell you all about the procedure, how simple and safe it is using your own stem cells, and how we determine if you're a candidate.
Dr. Wagner has performed over 20,000 stem cell procedures. Are you in pain? Join him Tuesday, June 11th at 6 p.m. for the free stem cell webinar and learn all about this amazing procedure. Register now at drmarkwagnermd.com. That's drmarkwagnermd.com.
You're listening to The Dugout every Tuesday at 1 with Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports, the home of the Mariners.
Mariners reliever Mike Bowman joining us now on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Mike, how's it going?
Good. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great. We're really happy to watch you guys out there in Oakland. Obviously, coming off a series sweep is always really fun. We actually wanted to start our interview with you by making you listen to sound. So we had Pete Woodworth on with us, and we thought that you'd like to hear something he had to say about you.
As soon as he got DFA'd when we were playing the Orioles, all of our hitters were like, we need to get that guy. That guy's disgusting. That was one of my least favorite at-bats of the season off that guy. And sure enough, like 24 hours later, we got the message that we had acquired Mike Baumann. So dreams do come true.
Look, Mike, I'm sure it didn't feel great. I'm sure in the moment you were like, this sucks. But how's it feel knowing how wanted you were? I mean, hitters on the team that acquired you were like, that dude, go get that dude.
Yeah, that's an awesome feeling hearing that from guys you just and I, like you said, it makes you super wanted, which helped me really well when I'm part of the team already. So it's been a great time, and it's only been a week too.
Hey, Mike, you're from Minnesota, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, I'm going basketball. I ain't going baseball right now. How was the year watching the T-Wolves do their thing, man? I'm a bit older than you, if you can imagine that. The last time they went to the conference finals, I was a senior in high school, so I could imagine that was pretty exciting for you.
That's when Ticket was playing back then. No, I was pumped to be able to watch. It's a lot of excitement, so that's why I was there.
All right, I think we just dropped, Mike's calls just dropped, so we're going to try to reconnect with him. Maybe he's calling from Minnesota. No, he's in Oakland.
From Minnesota.
I know he's in Oakland. Let's hit him with the same question when he gets back, though. We'll just tell him we couldn't hear him. That reception was bad. I'm going to be like, stop calling from Oko, just leave the building entirely. I'm sure he's
For
in the
real.
clubhouse. We'll see if we can. We'll see if we can get him back on and get a clear connection. We'll test it right now. Mike's joining us back. Mike, I'm going to let other Mike, our Michael, ask you the same question. We'll see if the connection's good.
One more time. 2004, T-Wolves were in the Western Conference Finals. Like Kevin Garnett was on the squad, a bit different now, but you got to be feeling good about that team.
Yeah, the big kind of remember that vaguely. But it's been great. I watched some of the games. Defense has been on all and that kind of blossomed the league as a superstar. It's a fun team to watch.
All right, we are gonna, Mike. We're so excited to talk to you. We have to let you go. I think it's just the service at Oko, but can we try to get you for another interview sometime soon to be able to ask you about some of this and whether it's your T-Wolves, whether it's your team. We're so excited to talk to you. We'll have to connect on another day. Is that good?
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, not your fault
All
at
good.
all, man. Have a good series here. We'll be watching. All right. Again, that was Mariners reliever Mike Bowman.
You're like a pro with that. You probably have like dipped out on so many dates back in the day. Like, yeah, actually,
so sorry. I'm so sorry. My
I left a
phone.
cake in the oven. I gotta get up out of here.
I left my oven. I have to go. I pick up like my shoe, my cell phone. Hello. No, I was not. I absolutely was not. But I remember one time Brock Heward was on with us and he had connected via Comrex and he joked because it's really hard on air to be like, hey, I'm going to hang up on you, okay? And Brock joked, like, let's see if you're bold enough to hang up if the connection is not good. So I took it as a challenge, and now I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, be Brock. Be not afraid to be
Brock.
like, hey, man, can't hear you. We got to go. So sorry.
That's just the results of being in that old stadium over there.
Let me tell you what.
I'm telling you, I drove by it last weekend, and it just feels lonely in that stadium.
It is really cool. He obviously, we couldn't hear his answer in full, but he was clearly it's cool to be wanted. That was a cool story from Pete that we learned that, like, yeah, one team, hey, he wasn't right for them. Maybe, it wasn't a fit, whatever it was. They DFA him. It doesn't mean that someone can't be really valuable to someone else. Seattle's hitters recognized someone that was really tough to face, and that made me more interested in all of Bowman's appearances with Seattle.
Yeah, that's the human factor that comes into sports is that maybe he wasn't on someone's radar because of velocity or movement or something like that. The numbers didn't add up to one organization. But then you get players who are talking about this guy and they're like, look, this dude is filthy. It's kind of like the Wu situation last week. Only threw 66 pitches, but Service is probably communicating with Wu and saying, all right, how are you feeling? The human aspect is something that I think is lost and forgotten sometimes, especially in baseball when you rely so much on data.
All right, well, let's spend just a couple minutes bump before we wrap this whole thing up talking about our expectations for this series and moving forward. You talked about, look, I'm a dreamer. I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna wish for a sweep here. It feels like that's very possible. I don't think you'd be disappointed by them not doing it. But the reason you want it, I'm assuming, is you're not going to have many opportunities, with this offense kind of stumbling right now, to sweep a team. You just did. Here's another.
I saw a something on X/Twitter that said the Mariners have 33 games left against the A's, the Angels, and like one or two other teams that are struggling.
Like White Sox kind of
White
teams.
Sox in it, yeah, exactly. And I saw that and I go, 33 games? Let's win 25 of them things. I'm like, that's your opportunity right there. And what Mariners have won 30-something games this year. Okay, you win those 30. It's just it starts putting scenarios in your head.
Then
and
you get 20 or 30 tough ones to tack on, and you're at 90 wins.
Exactly. It's like what football players do. It's easier for us to do is we look at the schedule before the season and be like, that's a win. Oh, that's a toss-up right there.
Yeah.
And you start your process of elimination and where you think you can go. So naturally, I started doing that after I saw that tweet, and the A's are up. And I go, all right, well, if they want to hit 33, they got to sweep these three. Hard to do, but you expect them to win this series.
It's certainly doable, this series, the series against the White Sox. The Royals are going to be in here and tough. Here's my question. When we left this series against the Angels, both you and I said, look, you look at a series sweep, and a sweep's a sweep. Yes, a sweep of, let's say, the Braves might mean more to you than a sweep against the Angels. I'm not saying you did, but because it's a much better team. But I do think you can take things from a sweep. What I was hesitant to take at the time was declaring any kind of true improvement for the offense. This offense will need help. Is there something, though, that to be said for like the confidence that can come for bats when you have this kind of stretch?
For sure. Confidence is key. Confidence makes you believe and play maybe higher at a higher level than you typically play at. You start seeing that ball square up the bat with the ball and start that exit velo goes up. Now your second baseman is making a play he's not supposed to make. It could be a nice little snowball effect. So I think they got some of that with the Yankees because I think they proved to themselves that they can play with the big boys. But with these teams, man, if you can go out and dominate teams like you're supposed to, I think it's such a reassuring feeling that can spread throughout a dugout.
That's the thing. I know there are I think Ray Roberts is a brilliant analyst, and he's not a believer in Uncle Mo and momentum.
Come on, Mo.
You have it or you don't. You have skill or you don't. You're prepared or you're not. And I do tend to just listen to what former athletes' experiences have been rather than apply my own interpretation because I've never been a professional athlete. But it's so hard for me not to think that makes a difference because if sometimes what can get in the way is between the ears, then why would the opposite not be true? Like, why could you not have believing you're better than you are help you kind of excel a little bit?
The thing that makes us great and it can hurt us at the same time as human beings are just emotions. It can elevate you to great places and it could just keep you down for a while. So I would imagine I played on teams that were very emotional, would ride those waves, and we do great. I would imagine with the baseball team that is unsure of themselves, really. They know they can win ball games, but aren't performing the way they expected to. Man, they can ride this wave of emotion with a sweep there in Oak. Let's go get it.
All right, we won't have the lineup out for another hour and a half or so from the Mariners. It'll probably come out around 3 p.m. But we do have a chance in the final minute here to go ahead and make our own prediction for this series. So let's go with first home run of the series comes from whom? Curtis, I'll have you participate as well. Bump.
First home run comes from, all right, I haven't picked him all year when you've asked this question, so I'm going now is Julio. I ain't picked him all year.
Oh, okay.
I've always gone somewhere else.
Totally in my mind, I was like, what are we going with here? Where are we going? So that means you picked Demo, you picked Mitch, both Mitches. Okay, Julio. Okay. Curtis.
I am gonna go
Ryan Bliss.
I would love to see that. That would be a really fun one.
It would be really cool.
I'm gonna go with a guy swinging a hot bat, Luke Raley.
Okay, sounds good. I'm going to go, he's not necessarily a big home run hitter. It would be fun, though, to see a guy like Josh Rojas rewarded for such consistent play with kind of one of those moments he's not going to see a ton of. So, yeah, I'll go with Josh.
Let's go.
Go ahead and do that. All right, you guys, again, this series begins tonight. George Kirby on the mound against Mitch Spence. First pitch is at 6:40 p.m. You got a series here against the A's. Let's see if the Mariners can get another sweep. Don't go anywhere. Wyman and Bob coming up next.
Get the national perspective on the Mariners.
Swing and a miss and a slider, strike three.
With Jeff Passan, Tuesday mornings at 8:30.
I don't think that it is unrealistic to believe that they have the talent and the ability to win a championship with this team.
And John Morosi, Thursdays at 5 p.m.
Their DNA remains intact. This is a rotation-dependent team.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Mariners.
You're losing your hair and you want a simple solution that works, and you want the best. Modern technology, top-rated physicians, something that's guaranteed to work. Guys, you need world-class Dr. Parango and his team at Advanced Hair. Advanced Hair has completely redefined hair restoration, from the experience itself to the unmatched results. Receding hairline, bald spot, thinning hair. Get your hair back with Advanced Hair's simple one-day treatment that begins regrowing your own natural hair the very next day. Advanced Hair has changed tens of thousands of lives, including mine. And get this, they were recently crowned 425 Business of the Year. For your free consultation, call 425-449-81.